town, I get a little reckless. Missed the memo, go check the message. I ate then came back for seconds. I hate seeing your fake little necklace. Lifestyle decrepit, I should probably expect this. Too much game for your league. I'm Hussein with ego, Hussein on these. Legendary, I'm everything you aim to be. I'm insane and free, you can't tame the beast.
Enemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me.
I'm about to go Goku. Leave on my head is red like old news. Yeah, trying to get the green like it's Whole Foods. Couldn't take my style and now you so blue. Yeah, now we don't even know you. Your hometown we don't need go to. Trying to get it worldwide global. Looking like I can show you. Been killing this is free, can't no man kill 'em. Came from the bottom, was a broke man, get up. Still move like 10 man with no found with them. Boom, pardon me, I get hectic. Ooh, I survive through the wreckage. You should go look for the exit. New sheriff in town, I get a little reckless. Missed the memo, go check the message. I ate then came back for seconds. I hate seeing your fake little necklace. Lifestyle decrepit, I should probably expect this. Too much game for your league. I'm Hussein with ego, Hussein on these. Legendary, I'm everything you aim to be. I'm insane and free, you can't tame the beast.
Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me.
I'm about to go Goku. Leave on my head is red like old news. Yeah, trying to get the green like it's Whole Foods. Couldn't take my style and now you so blue. Yeah, now we don't even know you. Your hometown we don't need go to. Trying to get it worldwide global. Looking like I can show you. Been killing this is go-to. Spiller, the whole man killer. Life so free, can't no man kill 'em. Came from the bottom, was a broke man, get up. Still move like 10 man with no found with them. Boom, pardon me, I get hectic. Ooh, I survive through the wreckage. You should go look for the exit. New sheriff in town, I get a little reckless. Missed the memo, go check the message. I ate then came back for seconds. I hate seeing your fake little necklace. Lifestyle decrepit, I should probably expect this. Too much game for your league. I'm Hussein with ego, Hussein on these. Legendary, I'm everything you aim to be. I'm insane and free, you can't tame the beast.
Enemy. be a mini me. Feeling me, any me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Feeling me, any me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Feeling me, all these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me.
I'm about to go Goku. Leave on my head is red like old new. Yeah, trying to get the green like it's Whole Foods. Couldn't take my style and now you so blue. Yeah, now we don't need know you. Your hometown we don't need go to. Trying to get it worldwide global. Looking like I can show you. Been killing this is go-to. Skrilla, the whole man killer. Life so free, can no man kill 'em. Came from the bottom, was a broke man, get up still.
I want to see some motherfucking ones in the chat if you are excited about tonight's stream. Let's get into it.
Go look for the exit. New sheriff in town, I get a little reckless. Missed the memo, go check the message. I ain't then came back for seconds. I ain't seen your fake little necklace. Lifestyle decrepit, I should probably expect this. Too much game for your league. I'm Hussein with Steve, on Hussein on me. Legendary, I'm everything you aim to be. I'm insane and free, you can't tame the beast.
Feeling me, any me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Feeling me, any me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Feeling me, any me.
Oh, how are you guys doing today? You good? Are you Gucci? Are you Gucci? Are you good? How are you this fine motherfucking evening, bitches? It is so good to see you guys. I got 3 screens on the go. I got YouTube, I got Twitch, and I've got my Streamlabs. Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's stream. Okay, so usually I stream on Twitch, but Twitch have now recently... Huh? Wait. Why is my mic on mute? 1 second. Wait. Why is my mic on mute? Muted on Twitch, it's not on YouTube. Right, Twitch people, refresh the stream, see if it's working for you now. Girl, there's always a problem on these goddamn streams. Okay, is it working for you guys on Twitch? We can hear you now. Hello! hello. Welcome to today's stream. God damn. I'm sitting there thinking I shouldn't be muted. But if you are on Twitch, go forth and refresh your stream. You should be able to see me and hear me clearly. How are you guys doing? I am so excited for today's stream because we have a really good one. We have Dramatology. If you guys remember, I think it's about a month ago now, my last video that I posted was a reaction stream that I put together from Twitch, doing a commentary, if you will, about Dramatology's first video pertaining to Trisha Paytas. Okay, so today, we're going to be basically doing the same thing, but we're doing this on my main channel. And the reason is, can we hear everything? Is everything fine?
Yeah, but you're high pitched on Twitch.
I'm high pitched.
Like it's a voice changer almost. I've no idea what that is.
The voice changer isn't even on.
No.
What do I sound like on Twitch?
The voice changer isn't even on.
Girl, why am I sounding like a chipmunk on Twitch? Oh, this is a problem. What's that? Where's the voice changing gap? What's that called?
It's not even open.
Yeah, it's not even open. So what's it called though?
I don't know. I think I installed it ages ago.
You sound normal on Twitch to me. Oh, okay. Maybe it's just Twitch. I'm sorry, guys. Twitch is glitching out. I don't know what to tell you, but the reason I'm streaming, people are saying to refresh the stream.
Refresh, yeah. You find them.
Okay. I apologize. I don't know what's going on with Twitch. I thought I had my voice changer on for a second. Apologies.
Let's just start from take one.
Hi, guys. Welcome to today's stream. I've done this like 3 times now. Jesus fucking Christ. Hi guys, welcome to today's stream. It is your girl Paige Christie here, bringing you yet another live stream. I'm streaming on Twitch, as you are probably aware, and I am also streaming on YouTube. This is because Twitch have updated their terms of service and are now saying it is okay for people who are monetized on the Twitch platform to stream to whatever platform they want to alongside Twitch. It used to be that you could only stream on one platform. Now apparently we can all stream on whatever platforms we so choose. There are some rules and stipulations with that, and I'm going to try my best to hold tight to that. But what I do want to say is this is the only time you guys will be catching a live stream on the main channel on YouTube. We will be moving my live streams to a separate channel, which will be at the top of the description of today's video. So if you guys want to see me stream more frequently and you want to do it on a different place, then there's the place on YouTube. But this is the only last time that I will be streaming to my main channel here on YouTube. So go follow if you want to follow. If you don't, that's fine. But if you do, go over there. Or the other option is you can go over to Twitch if you have a Twitch profile and you want to do that. That is also an option. Okay, now that we've got the formalities out of the way, today we are going to be watching a video by a content creator called Dramatology. Now, my last video that I posted to my channel was to do with Dramatology's first video. There is a part 1 to the part 2 it is that we are about to watch. If you are re-watching this video, not live, I will suggest that you go and take a look at my last video on YouTube and then come back to this live stream if you so wish. That's going to give you all of the introduction into basically what it is that I've been dealing with on social media. If you guys don't remember, let me bring you guys up to speed. A few months ago, I'd say probably over a year ago now, I made a video on my main channel called The Mysterious Case of Trisha Paytas. I think that's the name of the video. And in that video, I basically had the stance that it was extremely unfair for anybody to sit down and tell a person who has allegedly been the victim of CSA not to share their story because they believe that they are lying based on circumstantial proof and evidence that really doesn't fall under the lines of proof and evidence. Now, what I will say before we get into today's live stream, I think it's important to say this, especially for the YouTube people. I am not a Trisha Paytas stan, okay? But what I will say is that whilst Trisha Paytas has been possibly one of the most problematic content creators on the platform, I do believe that Trisha Paytas has shown a level of growth and maturity in more recent years than she has ever shown. And I commend somebody who at least takes the opportunity to grow themselves as a human being. Does it mean that everybody has received the apologies for what it is that she's done? No. Does it mean that every marginalized community it is that she has offended? The DID community, the Black community, the Hispanic community, every other trans community, every other community it is that she has offended. Does it mean that everybody has their apologies directly from Trisha Paytas' mouth? No. But what I don't like, and what I believe is inappropriate, is the amount of sheer disgusting, fat-phobic, fat-shaming, sex work shaming hate it is that she receives on social media. All because people don't like her. And I say if you don't like somebody, you can just simply tune out. But what I will say is, besides all of that, whether you like Trisha Paytas, whether you don't like Trisha Paytas, whether you think that Trisha Paytas is a good human being, a terrible human being, or somebody who lies in that space in between, Trisha Paytas came to the world with her CSA story, and it is not up to you, nor I, nor anybody else on this planet, on this platform, to question an alleged victim of CSA and try and kind of prohibit them from telling their story, especially if said story has been corroborated by other people who coincidentally a lot of people chose to ignore. So in my video, The Mysterious Case of Trisha Paytas, I basically had the mindset of Trisha Paytas, while she is a problematic human being, told her story. And if nobody else is in that room, then it is up to nobody else to discredit the story or ask her to provide proof. Because as we all know, commonly within like victims of CSA, they don't have proof. Me, myself, I am also a victim of CSA. I don't like to call myself a victim, but just to put that out there, I myself am also a victim of CSA that started when I was 8 years old. And I have no proof. Absolutely no proof. Even if there was a statute of limitations placed upon me, I would not have the proof that I needed to put the person away or to put them in jail. The person it is that she has accused of CSA is a person by the name of Mr. Riney, who was her old, I think it's 6th grade teacher. She stated in a podcast with Ethan Klein that he was inappropriate with her on numerous occasions. Then after that, she stated in a video on TikTok, I do believe, that she was so happy because this person had been put away or, you know, got into some kind of trouble with the law over looking at child pornography. Or P word. I should have said P word. I'm demonetized now. Now, when this happened, a lot of people searched the internet for where it was that Trisha was located. Byron, Illinois, a teacher who has been in some trouble with the law in regards to child pornography. Then they realized that Trisha Paytas was referencing somebody else who wasn't at the school that she was at. It was a completely different teacher from a completely different school. So the articles it was that she was quoting wasn't correct. And people saw that as a sign that she was lying about her CSA. And since then, there have been a campaign on Reddit with a Reddit page, snark page for Trisha Paytas called Trishyland Wifeys. People have been contacting her fertility clinic when she was pregnant to try and get them to not help her with her fertility treatment. There have been alleged cases of individuals inciting others to contact ICE for her Israeli husband, Moses. There have been people who have been sharing prospective schools and nurseries it is that Malibu Barbie, Trisha's daughter, may attend within the radius. There have been people contacting brands and companies it is that she works with. I don't necessarily see that as a huge deal because obviously they have like a code of ethics that these companies have to deal with. And if they choose not to work with her, then it's just one of those things that she has to deal with due to her problematic past. But just so many different things that I think go beyond the levels of, you know, holding somebody accountable. It's become personal. It's become vicious. There are people saying that she dislikes her daughter, that she is a terrible parent, and just the worst things that you could possibly imagine. So now that we've kind of got that out of the way, where my stance was back, I think it was last year or possibly even a year before, when I made my video in regards to that, it got dislike bombed to hell. We are talking, I think in the last live stream we had a look and it was like 13,000 dislikes on a video that had 70,000 views at the time, right? And a lot of people were saying that I was blindly, you know, believing Trisha Paytas despite the numerous amounts of evidence that they were. Because this campaign was started by a content creator called Mysterious. I think their channel name is Mysterious T. And when this happened, because I vehemently disagreed with Mysterious T, whilst I appreciate the research and the work it is that she did, and I don't think it is any small feat making, you know, videos that are over an hour long. That's the genre of work that I'm in. I don't agree with the victim blaming it was that she exhibited on her channel. People said that I was jealous of her because it was a time that my channel wasn't doing particularly great. People said I was jealous of her views. People said that I just disliked her. And I had reason to dislike her, like I had some kind of motivation. People said that I was being contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. Just loads of different things. And beyond all that, I received a significant amount of hate because of the video it is that I posted. A lot of people at this time, and this was around the time like before YouTube hid the dislikes button. This was around the time that people could see the likes and dislikes. So people were jumping into the video to watch, you know, their content creator that they watch usually, Paige Christie, looking at the likes and dislikes ratio, and then preforming their own opinion of what the video could possibly be before they'd even watched the video, before they'd even taken a chance to listen to the evidence it is that I provided, as well as being able to qualify that there is at least one other individual, in my humble opinion, I think at least three, but one other individual who remembers Mr. Riney, Trisha's alleged CSA abuser, being inappropriate. They at least remember so much. And whilst I was able to qualify that these people were real, that they existed, nobody wanted to hear Trisha's voice, even though it was qualified by other people. Because at the time, Trisha was #1 enemy on social media. Everybody hated her. And for reason, like for right reason. I think there was a lot of, you know, terrible stuff it was that Trisha had been doing and had done. This whole situation got to a point where it was getting so bad with members of the public going over to Ethan Klein on H3H3, telling him about this video and about this situation, that it completely destroyed the relationship it was, or whatever remaining relationship, because they were already arguing, it was that Ethan Klein had with Trisha Paytas. It destroyed their relationship. And that's something that happened in real life. And because I didn't agree with it, I got a fuck ton of hate. Now there is this content creator who I believe deserves all of the credit, all of the props, all of everything, called Dramatology. They came out very recently, a new channel. It's a voiceover channel that's done by AI, hence why I like to react to these kinds of videos, because I feel that when you listen to AI voiceovers, it can feel very monotone and monotonous. So hopefully my commentary will be able to liven up this video. But they did a tremendous part 1 video called Mysterious Lied About CSA Victims for Profit Part 1. The link to, Dramatology's channel will be in the description box. I do believe it is the second link, so you guys can go ahead and click that if you want to take a look at the video. But what I will say is they did a tremendous job of combining all of the evidence together to be able to somewhat prove that there is no reason to deny that Trisha Paytas was telling her truth. And when I posted about it on my main channel, it received such a positive response. So many people who, even in this comment section right now, hold on, I'll show you real quick. But even in this comment section right now, there's a person, this is on the part 2 video, there's a person who said, here, Jolly 3060 said 7 hours ago, I feel bad that I just ate it all up. And the replies in the comments here are people saying that, you know, they're not the only one who ate up some of the malicious, I believe, lies it is that Mysterious T said way back when. And this has become like concrete in stone. There are now pages dedicated to #justice for Mr. Riney. A man that Trisha Paytas has described and other people have qualified as her abuser. And it never sat right with me. And despite how many people ran across social media and said to me, aren't you embarrassed about that video, that everybody dislikes it? If I feel something in my soul and in my gut that doesn't sit right with me, I'm just going to feel the way I feel, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And I'm not going to lie, I feel overwhelmingly validated that another content creator who is far more eloquent with their words than I am was able to undeniably prove that there was no reason to deny Trisha's story and that this was a malicious hate campaign by a content creator who historically did not like Trisha Paytas only because of her relationship with Shane Dawson dissolving. Because Mysterious T, first and foremost, is a Shane Dawson stan. So what I will say is, I said on Twitter that I had a message for Dramatology after Dramatology's video went live. And after I'd done my live stream and posted it to social media and saw the immense amount of turnaround in public response to this video, I reached out to Trisha Paytas. And what can I just say, for the record, whilst people seem to think that like I'm Trisha Paytas' best friend or whatever, I hadn't messaged Trisha Paytas in over a year at this point, right? I think since just before she gave birth to Malibu. And I sent her my video and I showed her the turnaround in response to the person it is that she named as her CSA abuser. And she basically said to me that she is overwhelmingly grateful to content creators like Dramatology who are able to give a voice to her when it seems as if her voice was silenced. So Dramatology, just know that by what you're doing right now, you're fighting the good fight for, you know, potential alleged victims of CSA to be able to say what it is that they feel with their whole chest and not to be questioned because of the person that they are, rather than be seen as a victim of what happened to them. And I appreciate you as well. So that was what I wanted to say to Dramatology. You're doing a great job, and I really appreciate it. Please do take breaks if anything spoken about tonight gets too much. You look after yourself. Thank you so much. Please do take a break. Oh, okay. People are saying that. Sorry, bouncing between YouTube and Twitch. Okay. So with that being said, let's get into part 2. This is Mysterious lied about CSA victims for profit. Now, so far we've seen the lies, but we haven't seen the place it gets to where it's for profit. So let's watch this video and I'll be giving my commentary throughout. If you have any questions, make sure that you leave them throughout the stream and I'll be reading as many of them as I can. I don't believe I can see super chat, so if anyone sends me a super chat, moderators, please send me a message so that I can be aware of who sent what and for what reason. Let's get into it.
Welcome to part 2 of this series, where we're continuing to shine a light on how a creator, named Mysterious, lied and used manipulative tactics in order to try to discredit other people's CSA allegations. In part 1, I covered how Mysterious has a long pattern of not siding with victims and of using victim-blaming language. We discussed the origin story of how Mysterious, being a Shane Dawson stan, eventually led to her obsession with taking down Trisha Paytas, including stooping as low as accusing Trisha of lying about being CSA'd by her middle school teacher, Mr. R. When a second victim of Mr. R's came forward, named Morgan, with her own allegations against Mr. R, we discovered that Mysterious was willing to go to any length to desperately try to discredit Morgan. Morgan's allegations lent credence to Trisha's allegations, and therefore posed a direct threat to the narrative Mysterious had been trying to spread. Mysterious urged people to be skeptical of Morgan and not trust her. She downplayed Morgan's allegations, she twisted Morgan's words, she lied about Morgan contradicting herself, she created a fake timeline of events, and tampered with screenshots to accommodate a conspiracy she created herself that Trisha and Morgan were secret.
Yes, so in part 1, I don't know whether I mentioned this already, but in part 1, she also mentioned that Mysterious tampered with evidence in order to make her timeline of events seem correct. So definitely go back and watch part 1 if you haven't seen it. Towards the end of the video, this content creator, they start discussing the fact that Mysterious had left out dates in order for it to fit her narrative of the timeline. So that was very interesting.
Working together, among so many other things Mysterious did to Morgan. As a direct result of the hate mob formed by Ethan Klein and Mysterious, Morgan was essentially ran off the internet after her and her family were being harassed and doxxed. People were contacting the police station her dad works at, They were contacting Morgan's place of employment, and they were harassing Morgan and members of her family. We also learned that several former verifiable students, including Morgan and also her dad, who is the chief of police, in the town where Trisha grew up, all remember Mr. R being fired after he was caught watching P on his computer at school while students were in the class.
That William person, that is also another person is that I contacted. That person is a public figure as well who spoke out. Obviously, the last name has been like redacted for privacy reasons, but the message it was that they posted there, this is the William person over here. It was posted to a Byron, Illinois Facebook page for people who reside in the area.
Classroom. Mr. R being fired for watching P at school appears to be the origin of what eventually led to the false rumor that Trisha heard, which was that Mr. R was arrested for watching CP on his computer at school. After Googling Mr. R to verify that he was arrested, one of the top search results was a news article that was behind a paywall. The title was "Middle School Teacher Pleads Guilty to CP Charges." Trisha took that headline as confirmation that Mr. R had been arrested just like she had been told, which made her feel confident enough to publicly share that he had essayed her when she was his student. She publicly said his name and told people they can even look.
Wait, I just saw a message from Jennifer S. It says, Adam is now having to defend Swoop. What? For what reason? Let me know in the comments. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Look up the article and see for themselves that he had been arrested years after he was her teacher for watching CP at school. What Trisha didn't know was that the article was actually about a different teacher. So Trisha was wrong about Mr. R being arrested for watching CP at school. He was actually fired, not arrested, after he was caught watching P at school while children were in the classroom. Trisha falsely believing that he was arrested when really he was fired was one of the main things Mysterious used to try to discredit Trisha's CSA allegations against him, even though one allegation never had anything to do with the other. Him not being arrested, years after he was her teacher, in an incident completely unrelated to Trisha, never had anything to do with her essay allegations against him years prior, when she was his student. The arrest claim also has nothing to do with Morgan's essay allegations, as she's never even made that claim. That's a short summary of some of what was discussed in part 1 of this series. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend doing so before watching this video. You can find the link in the description box below. Now that we've recapped part 1, let's continue on, exposing the many ways Mysterious lied and used manipulative tactics in order to discredit Trisha and Morgan's CSA allegations. Mysterious consistently pushed the narrative that Mr. R's teaching record was clean, and therefore Morgan and the other verifiable former students, plus the chief of police, were lying about Mr. R being fired after he was caught watching P on his computer at school, while children were in the classroom.
There's nothing on his record. There's screenshots everywhere of the license. There's nothing there. He renewed it in 2017. There's nothing there. There's nothing. If there were reports of this, why isn't the report on Mr. R's teaching license? This teacher has nothing. It's clean. His record is totally clean. There is nothing on it. There's not a speck of it.
And this is the thing. This also went on with the narrative that this Mr. R guy was like the most upstanding citizen. He was like such a great person and all of this kind of stuff, despite not really knowing the person that he is, but just by his attributes, like that he was a teacher and he was a well-loved teacher by many of people who have said nice things about him, and that he was an army veteran. Like these were like, you can be a horrible person and be in whatever career or field ever. I know some horrible ass teachers. I also know some horrible ass veterans, girl. It changes absolutely nothing.
Anything on it. And he renewed his license in 2017. There's nothing on his record. If the teacher was fired, why isn't it on his record?
Mysterious said, there's nothing on his record, there's screenshots of his license, nothing's there. Mysterious repeatedly referred to Mr. R's teaching license as his teaching records. She was wrong, they are two completely separate things. A teaching license is a legal certification that authorizes an individual to work as a teacher in a public school. It certifies them to work a specific grade level range, such as middle school or high school. It may also specify what subject areas an individual is certified to teach, such as math or science. To obtain a license, the Illinois State Board of Education requires a bachelor's degree, specific coursework, student teaching experience, and passing scores on licensure exams. The status of a teacher's license is publicly available information that anyone can look up. Nobody has ever accused Mr. R of not having met the educational requirements to be a teacher, or accused—
Oh, so there's like a fundamental difference between teaching records and a teaching license. The teaching license is what you obtain to become a teacher. The teaching record, I guess, is like a list of things it is that you've done. I don't know. We'll find out.
him of not passing his licensure exams. So I'm not quite sure why Mysterious repeatedly tried to use the status of his teaching license as some kind of proof that he was never fired. A teaching license in the state of Illinois does not reflect that kind of information. You can see if the teaching license has been suspended or revoked, but nobody has ever claimed Mr. R had his teaching license suspended or revoked. You can be fired without losing your license or having it suspended, especially in the state of Illinois at that time. Mr. R would have been fired.
I just saw a message from Dennis G. She just says, this person is the same person who was mocking her own daughter who got more views for their YouTube channel. Yeah, so in part 1 of this video as well, Mysterious T had spoken about the fact that her young daughter had also had a YouTube channel that was like quite successful. And they decided, I guess, at some point, to no longer do this channel. I think it was like a slime channel of some kind, and now this daughter is like somewhat jealous of Mysterious T because her commentary channel is doing so much better than the slime channel. And it was just very weird, like this very like competitive moment between like her and her daughter. And it was kind of like, for me personally, like I don't have that kind of competitive nature with my child, for goodness sake.
In the early 2000s. According to a 2008 article titled Illinois Fails to Resolve Teacher Misconduct Incidents, Illinois suspended and revoked fewer teaching licenses than every other state in the country, except for Virginia. Mysterious said he renewed his license in 2017, as if that somehow means he had never been fired. The process of renewing a teacher's license in the state of Illinois consists of an online form that has to be filled out, plus paying applicable registration and handling fees. Mr. R, being fired over a decade prior, would not have anything at all to do with him renewing his license in 2017. It's completely irrelevant, and has nothing at all to do with whether or not Mr. R had been fired over 10 years before. As far as Mr. R's personnel records, which would include if he'd ever been reported for misconduct, if he had ever faced disciplinary actions, or if he had ever been fired, those records, in the state of Illinois, are not publicly available online. Mysterious never even claimed to have his personnel records. Instead, she just kept confusing his teaching license as his teaching records. She would even tell her viewers that they can look it up online for themselves and see that his teaching record is clean. The only information publicly available online is his teaching license, which, as we've already gone over, does not show if he'd ever been reported for misconduct or if he had ever been fired. So every single time, Mysterious told her viewers that his teaching record was clean and that he'd never been fired, and that they could look it up online for themselves, she was basing it off her own misinformation. Morgan, as well as several other verifiable former students, plus the chief of police, were all painted as liars by Mysterious, based on the misinformation Mysterious herself was spreading. I don't know if Mysterious was too ignorant to understand the difference between Mr. R's teaching license.
I think that that's probably more than likely the case, though, because I don't think that I would have been able to instantaneously differentiate between the two. But it is still like important. It's important to know this information. It's important to have this information because it kind of, you know, changes the way that you view things. And this is like the fundamental problem when it came to Mysterious's videos. It was like the misdirection. Like every time you were misdirected to something else. Hence why, like, anybody who kind of fell for what it was that Mysterious was saying or was sipping the Kool-Aid at the time, like, don't feel bad under any circumstances for having a change of view and a change of perspective now that more information has become available. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way because there was a lot of misdirection. And for me personally, I felt like it was intentional misdirection.
And his personnel records, and was too ignorant to know what kind of information his teaching license reflects, or if she was just manipulatively feigning ignorance. Regardless, she was spreading a false narrative. If you're going to sink as low as to try to discredit other people's CSAs, then you better be damn fucking sure that the information you're putting out is correct. It was her responsibility to do that, and she failed. Mr. R, being fired, after getting caught watching P at school, while children were in his classroom, went against Mysterious' narrative that Mr. R wasn't a creep. As much as Mysterious falsely claimed he wasn't fired, based on her own misinformation that she was spreading, she actually provided zero evidence that he was not fired, like Morgan, as well as several other verifiable former students, plus the chief of police, remember happening. Mysterious tried to convince her viewers that if Mr. R had been fired, in the manner that was alleged, that he would not have been able to go on teaching at other schools.
He was able to go on teaching for 15 plus more years at 2 other schools after Byron. If he was actually sitting in a classroom full of students watching P, there is no way he would have gotten another job. He was teaching at Byron and then he moved to another school. It would have been on his record during that time. He wouldn't have got another job. I don't understand.
Here's the thing though, right? There is nothing to really indicate that he wouldn't have got another job because the criteria in Illinois for being able to move from job to job, they had this policy, and I discussed it in my video. They had this policy that the teachers didn't have to disclose like their prior issues before moving to another school. That was a policy that was had. But because I referenced a school that was in Chicago in Illinois, they were saying there were so many people in the comment section who were saying that it wasn't applicable because whilst it might have been an Illinois law or an Illinois policy, that because it wasn't specific to that area, like my example wasn't specific to that area, that it like wasn't qualified.
And how did he get another job if any of this was on his record and it could have been shown?
What Mysterious was saying was factually incorrect and couldn't have been further from the truth. At that time, in Illinois, it was very easy for teachers accused of misconduct to go on teaching at other schools in the state. I also want to quickly point out something Mysterious, and even myself, haven't taken into account. We don't actually know if Mr. R resigned due to the P incident, or if he was fired because of it. It would have likely been assumed that he was fired, but there's also the very real possibility that he could have been asked to resign due to the P incident, or chose to resign because of it. If he resigned, it wouldn't have even been on his record at all that he was fired due to misconduct. I want to read some more excerpts from the article I showed you earlier that was written in 2008, titled, Illinois Fails to Resolve Teacher Misconduct Incidents. I want to show you just how easy it would have been for Mr. R to have been fired for misconduct and not have his teaching license suspended or revoked because of it.
Oh, that's a bit funny, isn't it? Oh, I wonder if people will listen to it this time. Because I think I referenced the same article. Let's see.
As a reminder, Mr. R getting caught watching P in class was in the early 2000s, so the information you'll see in this article is extremely relevant to when Mr. R was fired or resigned. The article states that a 7-month-long national investigation, conducted by a small newspaper group, found that Illinois had one of the worst track records in the country for removing errant teachers from the profession. The investigation found that among 50 states, only Virginia revoked or suspended fewer teaching certificates than Illinois. Unlike most states, no investigators were employed by the Illinois State Board of Education, so reports of teacher misconduct were often not investigated or acted upon. The Department of Children and Family Services had hundreds of cases providing credible evidence of abuse by teachers, and not a single one of those teachers had their license suspended or revoked. Teachers hired before 2004 didn't even have to undergo a national criminal background check. In the state of Illinois, at that time, physicians were 43 times more likely to have their licenses suspended or revoked than teachers were. Certification officials were not even being notified when a school district disciplined an educator. We already know Mr. R didn't have his teaching license suspended or revoked, and as you can see, there was nothing unordinary about that at that time. Even in cases involving teacher misconduct, teachers rarely had their licenses suspended or revoked. It doesn't even make sense for Mysterious to repeatedly acknowledge that his license had remained active, and then to also say he wouldn't have been able to continue teaching at other schools if he was let go in the manner that was alleged.
Because that would have been factually incorrect.
As long as his license wasn't suspended or revoked, he absolutely could continue teaching. And that's exactly what
Don Day just says, one of the nastiest teachers to be caught on To Catch a Predator was able to resume teaching after his appearance on the show. Apparently their name was Stanley Kendall. Jesus Christ.
he did. In the article we just looked at, it states that in the year 2000, in a small town in Illinois, a teacher pled guilty to 16 counts of misdemeanor battery. Each of the 16 counts involved 16 different female students he had groped. They were children. Despite the convictions, his teaching license was still not suspended or revoked. After his court-ordered probation was completed, he was able to continue teaching if he wanted to. That teacher literally pled guilty to groping 16 different children, and he still didn't lose his teaching license. That's how easy it was, at the time, for teachers guilty of sexual misconduct in Illinois to keep
Literally pleaded guilty to 16 counts of misdemeanor battery, each involving a different child. Still didn't lose their license. Still was able to continue teaching.
on teaching at other schools. He also resigned, rather than getting fired, which is why I pointed out earlier that it's possible Mr. R also could have resigned, rather than getting fired. Mysterious wanted to paint a narrative that there's no way anyone would have ever brushed aside Mr. R's sexual misconduct, even as she was actively dedicating multiple videos to literally doing just that. When Morgan said she was touched inappropriately, as a child, by Mr. R, and that he would only do it when nobody else could see, wasn't it Mysterious, a grown woman in at least her 30s, who brushed it aside and said it was an essay? Wasn't it Mysterious who brushed it aside and said Morgan wasn't a victim? But yet, Mysterious can't fathom how Mr. R's sexual misconduct could have been brushed aside. Make it make sense. The reality is that there weren't good enough protections in place at the time to keep a teacher like Mr. R from going on to teach at other schools. Mysterious may not believe that, but state legislators in Illinois knew there weren't enough protections in place, which is why they've enacted 4 different laws since 2015 to address it. One of those laws is named after a victim of educator sexual misconduct. Her name is Faith. What happened to Faith, and so many others like her, was an essential part of the drafting, approval, and implementation of the law that carries her name. In the early 2000s, in Illinois, which is when Morgan and Tricia were being essayed by Mr. R, Faith was being sexually abused by her teacher. Years later, through legal proceedings, it was discovered that several adults within her school suspected that her teacher's relationship with her was inappropriate. But none of them took the appropriate action to report their concerns. As a result, Faith pushed for changes to Illinois state laws related to educator sexual misconduct. That legislation is now in effect, and it is called Faith's Law. Mysterious, downplaying the prevalence at which educator sexual misconduct was happening, and the lack of protections that were in place to prevent teachers guilty of such misconduct from going on to teach at other schools, undermines victims like Morgan, Tricia, Faith, and so many others, as well as the efforts that Faith and other advocates have put into trying to correct the system that failed them. The newest law in Illinois to address educator sexual misconduct is House Bill 4316.
It says schools must report alleged teacher sexual misconduct starting July 2023. July 2023. This is recently. So prior to House Bill 4316, they didn't even have to report it. I'm like so shocked. Oh my God, it's like they were fucking protecting predators. That's crazy.
Just went into effect in July of this year. Here's some excerpts about it, in an article titled, Schools Must Report Alleged Teacher Sexual Misconduct, starting July 2023. This article was written in 2022. The article states, in a little over a year, school superintendents must begin notifying school boards and parents if any sexual misconduct happens in their districts. In a situation where a prosecution does not occur for a predatory teacher, this permits those school districts to track that information and share it with other districts. So prior to just now, school districts weren't even required to share with other schools incidents involving teacher sexual misconduct. Notice how that perfectly describes Mr. R and his situation. He was a predatory teacher who was involved in sexual misconduct, but was not prosecuted. It's stated right there, for a teacher like him, it was...
Sakura just says, predators often integrate themselves to the people around them and people close to the victim and make it difficult for the victim to speak out. True blue.
It's not required for his school district to share with any other schools that he was involved in sexual misconduct. The article goes on to state that the new bill also requires schools to conduct employment history reviews on new hires to ensure that teachers with a history of misconduct do not get hired again. Keep in mind that law only just went into effect in July of 2023. So when Mr. R was caught watching P at school while children were in the classroom, the next school he went to teach at...
The next school that he went to teach at didn't even have to report that that incident even took place. If it did, obviously this is circumstantial, but they didn't even have to report to the next school, hey, you know, this was the reason why he's no longer employed with us. That's wild. That is so wild to me.
That wasn't even required to conduct an employment history review. Yet Mysterious said there's no way he could have gone on to teach at other schools. She couldn't have been more wrong about that if she tried. John Connor said, as a prosecutor, I have encountered child exploitation situations involving educators in which teachers just went from school to school after something occurred. This bill is going to address that problem. Now signed into law, HB 4316 went into effect on July 1st, 2023. Mysterious spoke about Mr. R being a Vietnam War vet, as if that was part of her defense for him.
This man is also a Vietnam War vet that was honored with a Bronze Star, which is a high, high honor.
According to a report by...
But here's the thing, and this is what I said in my video, right? Is that just because somebody has like good social standing doesn't mean that they're a good person, right? In the UK, I can't really speak for the US so much, but in the UK, I at least remember the situation that went on with Jimmy Savile. Jimmy Savile was not only hailed like this amazing guy, he had also raised millions for children's charities to help children with terminal illness. These same children that in Stoke Hospital, which is one of the hospitals that reported that he had a special room made on the ward is that he paid for where he would allegedly sexually assault minors, and that the nurses were told frequently to send these minors to his room at the hospital Yeah, this man ended up becoming knighted by the Queen of England. He was a knight by the Queen of England. And people didn't even find out that this man was a predator. When? Until he died. Because when he died, his victims felt the strength to come forward in numbers to speak about how not only the BBC had been hiding exactly what had been taking place with Mr. Jimmy Savile, but that so many people were complicit to his CSA acts when they were taking place. There was a harrowing story that was told by a young lady who was a terminally ill patient who was sent to his room at Stoke Hospital that said that she was 8 years old at the time that the CSA took place with her. And when that happened, she didn't understand what was happening to her. But as, trigger warning, by the way, guys, but as this was happening to her, the CSA that was happening through the butt, she told others that she tried to poo him out. Who would speak like that? Only a child. And we in Britain were none the wiser because of how many companies were complicit and hiding what was going on of this man who had been abusing people for decades. So I'm not one to sit down and say, oh, this person was knighted by the Queen, they must be a great person. No, it doesn't mean that the victims' voices are smaller because the person that they are accusing is dead. Let me say that again. The victims' voices don't get smaller because the person that they are accusing has passed. But I digress, bitch.
By the U.S. Department of Justice, written in 2000, when Mr. R was Morgan and Tricia's teacher, they found that the percentage of veterans incarcerated for SA was significantly higher than the percentage of non-veterans incarcerated for SA. That remained true at all levels, including state prison, federal prison, and local jails. Even in military correctional facilities, SA was the most common offense that inmates were being held in military prisons for. SA accounted for nearly a third of all military prisoners. So Mr. R, being a war vet, means absolutely nothing at all in relation to whether or not he could have touched someone inappropriately. Mysterious even referred to Mr. R, being a war vet, as another piece of the puzzle. It's not, it's completely irrelevant. There's no job title that makes someone less likely of committing SA. Mysterious also said, if what was being alleged about Mr. R was true, then he would have been stripped of his military titles.
If he would have been caught at any point, or there would have been rumors anywhere at any point, there would have been stories all over the internet about this. He would have been stripped of his military titles.
There's no truth to what Mysterious was saying. If you're still serving in the military, you can face a reduction in rank as a punishment for a crime or wrongdoing. However, the Army is not going around stringing veterans who are no longer in the military.
Ducky Momo just says Dramatology has done her research. They sure have. I don't know if this is like one person or like a group of people. I don't know if this person is like a woman or a man or in between or non-binary. I have absolutely no idea. But they have been absolutely killing these videos. Absolutely killing it in the research department.
Of the ranks they held when they served in the Army for unrelated offenses they committed as civilians after they had already been discharged from the Army. That's literally not a thing. As far as medals go, your medal may be revoked if you were dishonorably discharged, or for desertion in time of war or cowardice, or if it is later learned that you acted criminally or unprofessionally during the same period you performed the actions that originally merited the medal. If those actions would have caused you not to be approved for the medal in the first place, if they had been known about at the time of approval. So Mysterious was wrong. The title he held when he served in the military, and his medal, would not have been stripped from him for something he did as a civilian after being discharged, even if he would have been arrested, which he was not. Mysterious said Mr. R was a well-respected man in his community.
Based on everything that I have researched on Mr. He was a very, very, very well-respected person. This man was so well-respected by so many people. This man was so well-respected by so many people. So for Tricia to make such horrible accusations at such a well-respected man in the Byron, Illinois area, it just makes me so sick to my stomach.
Being well-respected or well-liked doesn't exempt someone from being capable of touching someone else inappropriately. You know who else was well-respected and loved by many? Bill Cosby, Jimmy Savile, and so many countless other predators who hide behind being well-respected, well-liked, and
I said Jimmy Savile girl, but yeah, Bill Cosby as well. really well respected, especially by the black community. Do you get what I mean? He was like one of the first like mainstay, comedic dramas, if you will, that was on, television, on mainstream television. People loved him, but then we all found out about all of the allegations that had been taking place for years and years and years and years. It doesn't change anything.
Abuse their positions of trust to prey on others. Mysterious said Mr. R had a perfect reputation in the community.
A teacher that was well loved, a teacher that was never arrested, that had a perfect reputation in the community.
Mysterious has a very loose interpretation of what it means to have a perfect reputation. He's been accused of touching multiple children inappropriately. At least some of his former students remember him being a big creep. The chief of police and several other verifiable former students remember him being fired after he was caught watching P at school while children were in the classroom. I wouldn't exactly call that a perfect reputation. Mysterious took issue with Morgan saying Mr. R getting caught being sexually inappropriate while children were in the classroom was just pushed under the rug because he was a well-to-do white man.
Because it's Byron, Illinois, you wouldn't understand if you didn't live there. He was a well-to-do white man and was pushed under the rug. Okay, so there's a lot I want to say about this tweet. This tweet is very confusing because Morgan is insinuating that Mr. R was a wealthy person, and that is one of the reasons why it was pushed under the rug. Mr. R wasn't this rich man. He was a teacher, and teachers don't make a lot of money.
Mysterious.
How are you going to sit down and even have these kind of qualifications for an individual who not only has passed, but also that you have absolutely no connection to? What if he was an individual who had a large, substantial inheritance? Do you know that? Are you able to qualify that?
Interpreted Morgan, calling Mr. R well-to-do, as her saying he was a wealthy man, so it was just swept under the rug. Given the context, it seems like Morgan was referring to his social status in the community, rather than his financial status. I understood it as Morgan, saying she felt it was swept under the rug, because he was a well-respected and connected member of the community. That shouldn't be a hard concept for Mysterious to grasp, considering she, herself, repeatedly used Mr. R's social standing in the community as a way to undermine and brush aside the allegations against him. Mysterious said Morgan wasn't initially confident about Mr. R getting fired, and she questioned how Morgan would even know that him getting fired was pushed under the rug.
She wasn't even that confident with him getting fired until she started dropping screenshots from her father and former students. So if she had to verify the information, how would she know that something like this got pushed under the rug?
When Mysterious said Morgan,
because it took place over a decade of, like, what? Because it took place so long ago. Here's the thing, and this is the problem again when it comes to victims of CSA. When they become adults, when they develop the strength to be able to tell their story, what ends up happening is there's like blanks within the story. You know what I mean? For myself personally, when it comes to my CSA situation, I wasn't even aware of my own situation until I was in my mid-20s. I wasn't even aware because my brain had figured out a way to lock this off, compartmentalize it, and never look at it again. It wasn't until I was in my mid-20s that I realized what took place with me even took place. The brain has an amazing capacity to be able to blank out pieces of information. So victims of CSA sometimes need a little bit of reminding. That's not crazy to me or wild. The human brain is so fucking complex. And just like human to human, like I'm struggling to understand how an individual can have such little humanity. Like beyond, having a bias towards Shane Dawson and, against Trisha Paytas, beyond, Trisha Paytas' passing, just the humanity. How can you go to bed at night and sleep knowing that based on evidence that is not really qualifiable evidence, you sat down and used your platform to silence the voice of an individual who came forward with their CSA situation? How do you fucking sleep?
had to verify with others that Mr. R was fired because she wasn't initially confident about it. That was a lie. That's another instance of Mysterious manipulatively framing Morgan's words and actions in a way that has nothing to do with reality. Morgan always made it clear she was confident he was fired. She didn't ask her father and the other former students if they remember it happening because she wasn't sure about it. She asked them because that's how confident she was that it did happen. She knew if she asked them, they would remember it too. And she was right, they also remembered him being fired after getting caught watching P at school while children were in the classroom. Also, I find it strange that Mysterious questioned how Morgan would know that what he did was swept under the rug. Considering he was able to continue teaching at other schools, as if nothing ever happened, it seems pretty straightforward why Morgan would be left feeling like it was just swept under the rug. Mysterious said, if there were allegations against Mr. R, it would have been all over the news, everywhere.
When stuff like this happens in a town like Byron, Illinois, the media would be all over it. He was a very, very established person. And if anything would...
You know what I think is wild and really fucking hilarious and funny to me? How frequently, because obviously I was very vocal about how it was that I felt about Mysterious T's videos, but it's so funny to me how fucking frequently she would hop onto her platform to try her best to debunk whatever it was that I said in my videos. But now that more relevant information that actually goes completely against what it was that your narrative was, we haven't heard a fucking peep from you, sis. You haven't said boo to a fucking ghost. The last thing you did was apologize to Adam McIntyre because you didn't believe him being the victim of inappropriate relations with an adult as a minor. You had to sit down on your platform and you had to apologize to him. That was the last thing you did. But you're supposed to be the arbiter of good and evil and what was supposed to happen to Trisha Paytas and what didn't. You don't know shit. You don't know fucking shit.
Would have like anything like this would have happened, it would have been all over the media, everywhere.
Mysterious's notion that all cases of educator sexual misconduct, particularly in small towns, are always all over the media is baseless. Trisha and Morgan have never claimed they went to the police or pressed charges against Mr. R. And he wasn't arrested for the P incident.
Shadow Sheridan just said she's dehumanized Trisha to a point that she can convince herself that she is not doing anything wrong. Possibly.
So none of it would have even been public record. So what makes Mysterious think that it would have been all over the news? It's definitely not something the school would have been rushing to the newspapers with. Mr. R certainly wouldn't have been notifying the media. As far as we know, like many victims of CSA, Trisha and Morgan didn't tell their parents. And if you recall, only as of July 2023, are schools in Illinois even required to notify school boards and parents of educator sexual misconduct within their school district. So parents wouldn't have received any official notification about Mr. R getting caught watching P at school while students were in the classroom. So who exactly does she think would have been contacting all the media outlets? The children? Mysterious seemed to form her opinion that it would have been all over the news based on a situation that happened in her own high school. More than once she told a story about how a female teacher at her school was arrested for sleeping with one of her students. Mysterious said it was all over the news, and because of that, she seemed to assume that's how those situations typically play out. There's a few major differences between what happened at Mysterious school versus what happened at Trisha and Morgan's school though. First, someone pressed charges and there was an arrest, which also means there was a court case. There would have been lawyers involved and official statements made to the press. That's an entirely different scenario than a teacher quietly resigning or getting fired without any charges being pressed. Second, it was a female teacher and happened when there was still a massive media storm surrounding the Mary Kay Letourneau case. Mary Kay Letourneau was a middle school teacher in her mid-30s, married, and a mother of 4 kids when she became pregnant by a 13-year-old student of hers with whom she had been having inappropriate relations with since he was 12.
Girl, what? What in the fuck did I just hear? A 13-year-old? Girl, when was this? They got married years later. Shut the fucking front door. You're lying. Fucking what? That's exactly how I feel. 13? She got pregnant by a 13-year-old? Oh, electric chair. Electric chair, girl. Electric chair. How? Oh my God. What do you even have in common with a 13-year-old? I could barely hold a conversation with Gen Z, girl. No. Electric chair. Electric chair. Electric chair. Disgusting. Disgusting.
She gave birth while awaiting sentencing. She served 3 months in jail, and when she was released, she became pregnant again by the same former student and was sentenced to prison. The case dominated national headlines. As a result, there was extremely heightened media attention surrounding similar cases involving female educators involved in sexual misconduct at the time, which from what Mysterious described, seems to have included the female teacher from her own school that was arrested. And lastly, Mysterious has never said she's from Illinois. As I've already shown you, Illinois was more negligent at the time than almost any other state in the entire country when it came to handling
Okay, just go. She got pregnant twice? Yes, girl. She got pregnant twice. Crazy.
Educator sexual misconduct. So mysterious, basing how things were handled in her own school is not relative to how things were being handled at Trisha and Morgan's school. That's something Mysterious couldn't seem to comprehend. She seemed to have this picture in her head that there's just no way a teacher could be accused of the things Mr. R was accused of, and the teacher just gets to continue teaching and it not be all over the media. Just because Mysterious can't understand that those things happen more frequently than she seems to think it does, doesn't mean Trisha and Morgan were lying. What happened at Morgan and Trisha's school, and it not being all over the media, wasn't some sort of proof of Mr. R's innocence, like Mysterious was trying to convince everyone of. The only thing it actually proved was just how easy it was for a teacher like Mr. R to quietly slip through the cracks and be able to continue on teaching. Hence why Illinois has had to enact so many laws to try to remedy that very problem. Mysterious said Byron is a safe town, and therefore it was statistically unlikely that Trisha was telling the truth.
Oh my god, yes, this was another thing. She said it was statistically, like, almost impossible that something like that would have happened because of, like, the history of crime and violence in fucking Byron in Illinois. It doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And the other thing that she said, besides like how it statistically couldn't have happened, is that, well, Trisha also said that she was CSA'd by a different teacher as well. So what's the chances that it could happen multiple times? Do you think that perpetrators of CSA or perpetrators of just sexual violence in general aren't aware of who their fucking target demographic are? They're looking for the people who aren't going to talk about it. They're looking for the people who's going to keep it to themselves. They're looking for the families and friends and close people and loved ones that they can manipulate. That's what they do. They know what they're seeking out, my dude. It's not wild. And in fact, it's very common for victims of CSA or any kind of sexual violence to have had that happen to them multiple times. In the same way, it is very common for victims of domestic violence to have that happen to them in numerous different relationships. It's not wild. It's just that the perpetrators of that know who their fucking victim is. Like, they know their fucking audience.
Pretty fucking safe town. In Byron, you have a 1 in 1,196 chance of becoming a victim of a violent crime. So statistically, I can see something like this happening one time to someone in a town like Byron.
Mysterious said in Byron you have a 1 in 1,196 chance of becoming a victim of a violent crime. In the screenshots she shared, you can see that the information came from a website called areavibes.com and a website called niche.com. When you go to both websites, it shows you the sources each website used to get their statistics from. For crime, both Area Vibes and Niche said they use the FBI Uniform Crime Report. The Uniform Crime Reporting Program, which is also known as UCR, includes data from more than 18,000 city, university, and college, county, state, tribal, and federal law enforcement agencies. The agencies participate voluntarily. The UCR does not include any data on SA unless someone was actually R-worded. They also do not include data on crimes.
Girl, they did the research to find out where and how the demographic of people who was selected for this survey was put together. Bravo. This is like tens across the board kind of reporting and research. Tens across the board. My God. Fuck yes. Fuck yes.
That were not reported to law enforcement. So Area Vibes and Niche do not even provide statistics at all about SA unless you were R-worded and also reported it to an agency that happens to voluntarily submit that information to the UCR program. Morgan and Trisha never claimed they were R-worded by Mr. R. And they never claimed to have reported him to law enforcement either. As far as him resigning or being fired for the P incident, that situation also didn't involve being R-worded. So Mysterious accused Trisha and Morgan of lying, based at least in part on statistics that had absolutely nothing at all to do with Morgan and Trisha's allegations. Mysterious referred to those statistics as another piece of the puzzle. How could statistics that don't even provide any data at all about SA, other than being R-worded, be a piece of Mysterious's puzzle? Her puzzle is flimsy and effective, and I think she should probably find a new hobby. I want to show you some statistics that do relate to Trisha and Morgan's allegations. In an article titled Educator Sexual Misconduct Remains Prevalent in Schools, a study found that 11.7% of recent graduates said they experienced educator sexual misconduct. The article states that one of the most comprehensive reviews of educator sexual misconduct occurred in 2000.
I live for this. So Dramatology's like, okay, so your research is actually very much flawed. Let me show you the kind of articles it was that you should have been looking at, girl. I live for this.
2004. The comprehensive review was ordered by the United States Department of Education and was conducted by Cheryl Shakeshaft. Her subsequent report is referred to as the Shakeshaft Report. She estimated the prevalence of educator sexual misconduct, at the time, to be 9.6% of the United States student body. That means 4 to 5 million children had experienced some form of educator misconduct, at the time. It said the term
Okay, that number, just for the record, is like entirely too high.
educator sexual misconduct encompasses a variety of inappropriate sexual behaviors that can be in the form of sexually inappropriate verbal, visual, or physical behaviors. The article goes on to state that a new large-scale, multi-state survey of 6,632 recent high school grads found that 11.7% had experienced at least one form of educator sexual misconduct during grades K through 12. The article states that similar to past research, the study found that most of the perpetrators were male teachers or coaches, and the majority of students who reported experiencing educator sexual misconduct were female. There were low rates of making official reports, and those that did report it rarely resulted in the educator facing disciplinary action. So this happens a lot more than Mysterious thinks it does, and most of the time, it goes unreported, and even when it does get reported, the educator typically doesn't face any repercussions. In one of Mysterious's live streams, she said she wanted to talk to someone from Byron.
I really want to talk to somebody at Byron because it would help with this whole situation.
She did talk to someone from Byron though. She talked to Morgan. Morgan said Mr. R was very handsy and touched her inappropriately, and that her and all of her friends remember him as being a big creep. She told Mysterious, personally, in DMs, that she is absolutely positive Mr. R was caught watching P at school while children were in the classroom. Mysterious said she wanted to talk to someone from Byron, but when she didn't only just brush it off, because it wasn't what she wanted to hear, she also went out of her way to make sure everyone else brushed Morgan off too. Mysterious also said she wanted to see something from an official person, like a principal or a cop, in regard to Mr. R getting caught watching P.
And that's exactly what took place. So literally at every turn when she was confronted with information that was like contrary to what it was that she was trying to run with and the narrative it was that she was trying to pull on social media, she didn't listen. And this is half of the reason why victims of SA in general don't even come forward with their fucking stories. Because people like you will make swift and fast judgments on the people as individuals rather than looking at them as prospective victims and just not believe them. So then if you're not going to be believed, why open your fucking mouth?
In class.
There's nothing on the guy's record. There's no trace of it. So unless you can get like a official person, like a principal or a cop to make an actual statement on it, not a bunch of Byron alumni that remembers this from 20 years ago.
Mysterious did see something from an official person. The chief of police said he remembers Mr. R being fired after getting caught watching P in class. He said he doesn't remember all the specific details, but he remembers charges were not pressed. Again, just like with Morgan, she didn't just brush off the chief of police's comments, she went out of her way to make sure everyone else brushed them off too. Todd Redacted has been appointed as the head officer of Byron for the last 23 years. After joining law enforcement, he continued his education and training even further and graduated from Northwestern University's School of Police Staff and Command. On top of that, he is a graduate of the FBI National Academy, which is regarded as one of the premier law enforcement training programs in the world. Law enforcement come from all over the world to attend the FBI National Academy. It is invite-only through a nomination process. You have to be nominated by the head of your agency because of demonstrated leadership qualities, and then after being nominated, you have to be selected by a panel to even be able to attend the FBI National Academy. Less than 1% of law enforcement officers get to attend this elite training. That's who Mysterious brushed off, and literally stated that anything he says is questionable, while simultaneously saying she wanted to see some—
Girl, the fucking research, girl. The research. The research that has gone into this. And this is why I fuck with it, because it is like not even deniable. It's not circumstantial evidence. It's concrete, set in stone. Look it up. Google is free. You can find this yourself. So fucking well done.
Something from an official person, like a cop. He's the chief of police, the highest ranking cop in the town, and has been for the last 23 years. It doesn't get more official than that. Make it make sense. Mysterious even went as far as to accuse Morgan and Trisha of possibly remembering the wrong teacher.
It's even the right teacher. That's another thing. If it's even the right teacher, because these people, it's 20 years. 20 years. What if she got the teacher wrong? What if this teacher isn't even the teacher?
This was another instance of Mysterious being absolutely willing to shamelessly say anything she could think of to try to discredit Morgan and Trisha. She really tried to convince people that Morgan and Trisha might both be remembering the wrong teacher who essayed them, and that the chief—
Okay, but here's my question, right? Because, okay, so we already know the law that Mysterious T is a Shane Dawson fan, and when Shane Dawson and Trisha Paytas fell out, that is when her disdain for Trisha Paytas grew, right? We were already aware of that. What else do you think could possibly be her vested interest in making such a horrendous narrative continue? Like, what is the vested interest that she has in that? That I'm still not, like, in a headspace where I can pinpoint, like, what's the interest? Like, what's the motivation here? If you think you know what the motivation is, leave a comment in the comment section.
Of police and several other verifiable former students might all be remembering the wrong teacher who was caught watching P at school while children were in the classroom. I honestly don't know how anyone could have listened to her make these kind of arguments and not come to the conclusion that she was acting in bad faith and had a clear agenda. Here's another instance of Mysterious creating a contradiction in Morgan's tweets that didn't exist.
She specifically says that he did it to multiple girls, which is a very important detail to keep in mind. Then the next tweet said the following, and I don't know who all he did this to, so someone else's experience could be totally different than mine.
Mysterious used tweets that didn't have the timestamps on them. So while she worded it, like Morgan said one thing, and then turned right around in the next tweet, and said something completely different, these tweets are actually 2 hours apart, and there were several tweets in between.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so redacting information again. Potential doctoring of receipts. Interesting.
So before she claimed that he did this to multiple girls, but in this tweet she is claiming that she has no idea who he actually did this to.
Mysterious is framing this as though the second tweet contradicts the first tweet, even though it doesn't. Two things can be true at once. Morgan can know she wasn't the only one in her class that he did this to, while also not knowing every single person he did it to. For instance, she could know one or more people who had the same experience, or remember one or more of her friends, or classmates, talking about it, while also not knowing every single person he was doing it to. There's nothing at all contradictory.
Okay, so Vertigo, you left a comment asking what the color is. It's called So Red, and it's by Juvia's Place, and it's one of their matte lipsticks. There you go.
About that.
Which doesn't make much sense, because to me, wouldn't you at least remember someone else that this was done to if you were so confident that he was doing this to other girls? Those two statements contradict each other.
Mysterious is twisting Morgan's words. She's making it appear as though Morgan said she can't name a single other person Mr. R touched inappropriately. That's definitely not what Morgan said. Morgan didn't say she doesn't know anyone that he did it to. She said she doesn't know everyone that he had done it to.
Especially because she says someone else's experiences could be different than mine, because before she made it sound like there were a lot of girls that were experiencing the same thing as she was.
Again, this is Mysterious, creating a contradiction that didn't exist. Morgan saying someone else's experience could be different than hers does not contradict that she knows he was doing it to more than just herself. Morgan can be aware of her own experience, and that some others also experienced it, while also knowing it might not have been the...
This is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about, like, the misdirection, like the intentional misdirection of the audience to follow the specific narrative it was that she was building. Because saying that she doesn't know all the victims it is that, you know, this happened to, doesn't negate the fact that she's still qualifying and saying that there is victims, in her opinion. It doesn't change that. But if you were to listen to that and see these screenshots without any timestamps or, you know, where it came from or even references, you would just take that on face value and run with it. Hence why I say I don't feel like I'm not upset with anybody who, like, ran with this narrative in the beginning, because if you're facing this and this is your only exposure to what is going on with Trisha Paytas and Mr. Riney, I can understand why you would just fall into it. Because it is that consistent moving of the goalpost as well as misdirection in order to get the audience to understand the narrative it is that you are putting together. It is priming and prepping the audience in a way that they will always align their viewpoint with you. It's manipulation. To call it what in the fuck it is. It's manipulation.
Experience of every person he ever taught. It's not a contradiction. It's a perfectly reasonable assessment on Morgan's part. Mysterious said Ethan and Trisha made it harder to question victims.
Ethan and Trisha, you know, they were on frenemies, like having like this attitude of, you know, believe all victims. And that's why it's kind of hard to question anybody on this stuff because of that podcast. Because everybody has that in their head, like believe everyone.
Just a reminder that nearly every single victim Trisha and Ethan supported during frenemies, Mysterious would simultaneously use her platforms to publicly spew victim-blaming language in regard to said victims, seemingly as a direct response to Ethan and Trisha having supported them. She was treating SA victims like pawns in her war against frenemies. the war she started waging after Trisha and Shane had a falling out. So to hear her literally complaining that Ethan and Trisha supporting victims on frenemies has made it harder for her to try to discredit other people's essay allegations that have nothing to do with her and that she has no way of disproving is not shocking, but it is very disturbing, to say the least. Mysterious said that Trisha's allegations against Mr. R invalidated actual victims.
I feel like this is so invalidating to actual victims what Trisha has done. It's just so invalidating.
Mysterious actually had the nerve to say that, while she was actively on a heinous mission to try to discredit other people's CSA allegations at all costs, even if it meant lying and manipulating in order to do so. Not to mention her long history of using victim-blaming language and even complaining about how people giving victims the benefit of the doubt makes it harder for her to question them. Trisha coming forward about Mr. R didn't invalidate actual victims. It gave another actual victim, Morgan, the courage to come forward about what Mr. R did to her too. Mysterious is the one who is literally invalidating victims, helped chase one clear off the internet, and has likely made it that much more difficult for any other potential victims of Mr. R's to come forward. Mysterious often referenced that in Trisha's book and early in her career, Trisha said nothing happened with her teachers.
She said in her book, like, nothing in her book and in YouTube videos that nothing happened with her teachers.
Trisha has stated that early in her career and in her book, she wasn't in a place where she was ready to publicly talk about it yet.
The book she wrote 10 years ago contradicts almost everything she said about child and grew up. The book I wrote 10 years ago, I'm 23 years old. I'm protecting everything. I'm writing my own story. That's not reality. I was so scared.
Opening up about things of this nature, even privately, with people you trust, can be extremely difficult. Let alone opening up publicly. I don't fault her for not sharing what she experienced until she was ready to. Mysterious said Trisha contradicting herself was another piece of the puzzle.
The contradictions in the stories are a massive piece to this whole puzzle.
Much like with Morgan, some of the things Mysterious accused Trisha of contradicting herself on weren't actually contradictions at all. If Trisha would talk more in depth about it and provide more details, Mysterious would frame it as Trisha. Trisha changing her story instead of viewing it as Trisha providing more information. There were other
God, I was muted the whole time. Well, I said some really good shit, okay? I said some really good shit, and you're just gonna have to believe me.
instances of Mysterious hyperfixating on certain details, like Trisha mentioning in her book wearing a water bra in 8th grade, but then 10 years later, saying on Frenemies that she wore a water bra in 6th grade. Or Trisha saying she talked to Mr. R about a movie, and then later saying the name of a different movie. Some of that just seems really petty when we're talking about someone trying to recount something from over 20 years ago. I want to read some excerpts from an article about repressed childhood trauma in adults. The article states, repressed memories, also known as dissociative amnesia, are a common occurrence in those who experienced childhood trauma. While some are unable to recall a small period of time, others are missing entire years of their life. Along with memory loss, other signs of repressed trauma can include low self-esteem, substance abuse disorders, increased physical or mental illnesses, and interpersonal problems. It goes on to state that most experts view dissociative amnesia as a defense mechanism that one may use to block out painful past memories. Most of the time, repressing a
It is so wild that I was literally saying this, because for me and myself personally, I don't remember my childhood much at all before the age of 9. Like 9 years old is when my childhood starts. I don't remember much of my childhood before the age of 9. And I think that this is something that is so common. Like if you're a person who speaks to other CSA victims, I speak to a lot of CSA victims all the time. This is so common, but it is so untalked about. Like people aren't talking about this as much as they should, because this is one of the things that we do to protect ourselves. Again, the brain is so fucking complex.
trauma memory is an involuntary response, and not a conscious decision someone makes. Because children don't usually have the ability to prevent traumatic events, dissociating can be their way of coping. Even when repressed, childhood trauma can often manifest in problematic ways later in life. In fact, some researchers believe that this defense mechanism can take a toll on both a person's mental and physical health. This may help explain why one's repressed memories can often reemerge as different illnesses, relationship or trust issues, and unhealthy lifestyle choices. Most children, over the age of 3, start to develop memories that they can later recall in adulthood. However, trauma survivors may not be able to access these childhood memories. Some survivors have unconsciously blocked out weeks, months, or even years of their childhoods. This is often the result of a child dissociating from a traumatic experience. Dissociation involves detaching from your thoughts, feelings, or even your body and is a frequent occurrence in trauma survivors. People who dissociate may struggle more than others to remember specific details of a traumatic event. Furthermore, dissociative amnesia is known to affect over half of those who have experienced sexual abuse. BPD splitting is another byproduct of unresolved childhood trauma. According to research, trauma survivors frequently misremember events from childhood. False memories are not stories a person makes up to get attention, rather, they're things one vividly remembers happening to them, despite never actually occurring. Some experts believe that false memories are the mind's way of trying to fill in the gaps left by episodes of dissociative amnesia. People who have repressed traumatic memories from childhood may also suffer from dissociative episodes. In these moments, one may lose touch with themselves or reality, and are more likely to occur when a person is overwhelmed, upset, or triggered. However, episodes can affect a survivor at any time. Many who dissociate as adults begin this behavior early on in childhood as a way of coping with situations they couldn't avoid or escape. Here are some of the signs of a dissociative episode. Feeling emotionally detached or numb to feelings. Having an out-of-body experience, such as seeing yourself from above. Losing sense of what's real. Unintentionally blanking or zoning out. Being in a dream-like state. And trouble remembering actions, people, or places. Here's a clip of Trisha describing exactly what we just read about, and Dr. Drew reiterating that her misremembering details is normal and expected.
Remembering, that's a distortion, that's not a lie. So talk about that.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like, especially with childhood stuff. So recently, I started like a podcast just talking about my mental health, and I always am not a mental health expert, just talking about everything from like childhood to the beginning, right? But the problem is I blocked out a lot of it. So through my own therapy, going back to that, I'm like kind of remembering bits and pieces. Sorry, someone's calling me. Let me decline that. I remember bits and pieces. But there are parts of my life that feels like it wasn't even me living it. So I'm kind of, sometimes I question if that was real. And I also, so it's like, it's almost like I like relive my life like a movie, and like I remember things happening, but then I'm like, okay, but did it happen? Like it's very fuzzy. So when I talk about my own experiences, I do think people are like, well, that day doesn't go out with that day. And I was like, maybe, you know,
And here's the thing, right? Dr. Drew is like a TV therapist, a doctor. He has his doctorate, all that kind of stuff. And there are so many people online, especially when Trisha Paytas was going through her My Chemical Imbalance era with her content, doing like a podcast, like a solo podcast. When that was taking place, so many people, even though Dr. Drew pretty much co-signed and quite frankly, obviously believed what it was that Trisha was telling him, everybody said, oh, you know, he's not a real doctor. You know, let's not trust him. So people still, even when she was in front of a qualified professional who is trained to be able to understand these complex issues when it comes to the human brain, people didn't want to believe her then. And I just think that when stuff like this happens, like regardless of how you feel about Trisha Paytas, it sets a precedent for so many other victims of either CSA or SA in general, right? For them to feel like they are going to be unheard, because you have a medical professional, the chief of police in Byron, Illinois, multiple other people corroborating that this person was at least either weird with them or weird with other people. And still, despite all of this coming forward to the internet, nobody believed Trisha Paytas. And I'm not here to tell you that you need to believe her. I'm here to tell you that you need to listen and be quiet. That's it. Just listen. Because if you weren't in the room at the date and the time that the shit took place, you have no voice to say shit. And that's on period. If you're watching this evening and thinking to yourself, oh, you know, I've been through some shit and I want to get my justice and are feeling less compelled to do so, just know that in today's chat and in multiple other videos, there are over fucking 70,000 individuals who are willing to hear you and shut the fuck up. Do not let this deter you from seeking justice for what happened to you. And that's on what? Period.
And that's why I've just always been really hesitant to talk about things like that, because I am just so foggy on a lot of it. And I don't know what, I know stuff happened, but...
Yeah, people have to understand that this is something you and I have not talked about. And again, I hope somebody out there begins to understand how our brains work. One thing you're talking about is memory function, which is affected by trauma and affected by a million things. You're also talking about drugs and alcohol affecting your perceptions. You're talking about sort of delusional things that your borderline process brings in. You're talking about trying to put things together when you're engaged in highly traumatizing behaviors, right? I mean, it would be characteristic and expected.
Here's Dr. Drew sharing his qualifications to speak on this topic.
People are questioning my training for being able to talk to you about these issues. Let's be clear. I am not treating Trisha. I'm exploring her borderline process. I personally treated 2,000 or 3,000 borderline patients with drug addiction. I spent 30 years working in a psychiatric hospital. Borderline disorder was exceedingly common. I would always, of course, have the psychiatrist and the psychologist render the treatment, but I had to have a very deep understanding of this condition.
So imagine the live stream is going absolutely crazy saying, well, who are you? Who are you to qualify what it is that Trisha Paytas is saying? And he's having to sit down on his platform and qualify to the audience that he is more than qualified to discuss this and to explore her mind in this way on his platform with her consent. That's how crazy the situation was around Trisha Paytas. Crazy.
In order to do the work I did, Bob Barker has asked me, what is my medical license? I went to Amherst College, got a biology degree. I went to USC School of Medicine. Then I got an internal medicine training at the SC facilities. Then I did a chief residency. Then I became director of medicine in the psychiatric hospital. I worked at for 30 years. Then I became chief of service for the Department of Chemical Dependency. I'm board certified in internal medicine, board certified in addiction medicine. I'm a assistant clinical professor of psychiatry and internal medicine. I have taught in both settings over many years, 30 years as the director of a program in an acute psychiatric setting. I know what I'm talking about.
Throughout Trisha's entire career on YouTube, she has described how she's experienced dissociating since childhood. Prior to learning the term, she often referred to it as blacking out or switching, and as something she couldn't control. Here's another clip of Trisha talking about dissociating, and Dr. Drew once again telling her it's a sign of childhood trauma.
I go into these, like...
Fugues, these states.
Yeah, like, it's like a blackout where I'm like, not that person.
And it needs to be treated, and you're treating it. I mean, that's the thing. Now, it's also a sign of like really heavy-duty childhood trauma.
Trisha said she remembers certain situations happened when she was a child, but it's foggy. She described when she tries to remember it, that it feels more like she's watching herself in a movie, rather than having actually lived the experience. What we've learned is that Trisha was experiencing repressed memories from traumatic situations she was dissociating during when she was a child. So physically, when Mr. R was touching her inappropriately, she was there. But as an involuntary defense mechanism, as a child who felt like she couldn't escape the situation, mentally she was dissociating, and in that sense, wasn't completely there. That's why she knows it happened, but when she tries to remember it, it's not like a normal memory, it's more like watching herself in a movie, rather than something she actually lived through, because she was dissociating during those moments.
When you hear it put in that way, that as a vulnerable child who felt as if they couldn't escape what was actually taking place, that they disassociated, and it was almost as if they saw themselves from a third-person perspective. Does that not fucking break your heart? Like, does that not fucking break your heart? That's awful. That's horrible. I wouldn't want any minor to ever go through anything like that. And instead of hearing her, the world just said, shut the fuck up. Don't talk about it. Not you. You're a terrible person. Whilst I believe that Trisha Paytas needs to take accountability for her actions, and I don't think she is fully reckoned with taking accountability for her actions, I'm not, like, stupid enough to believe that a lot of her actions were also symptomatic of what she's fucking been through. It's like a young boy, like completely, let's look at a hypothetical, like a young boy, you know, has a situation takes place and then goes into prison. They've been criminalized at a very young age. They become institutionalized and see no world outside of their perspective than the world it was that they lived whilst they were in prison. When they return to the real world, they struggle to function in a new society. They feel like they want to go back to what it is that they know. So they commit a crime and then go back into the judicial system because it is all they have ever experienced. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that this person should be accountable for the crimes it was that they committed. But it also doesn't mean that it isn't symptomatic of what it is that they have been through. And when you start viewing the world with so many more nuances, with so many more different shades of grey, you start seeing people as human beings. And I feel like that's what's happening. We have dehumanized so many other content creators to the point that we can't see them as human beings. And that's fucking sad.
So yes, sometimes when she talked about it, she said things that contradicted herself. But also, as we've learned, it is not a case of Trisha just going around purposely lying, all willy-nilly, about details of her trauma just for fun, or because she's some evil monster like Mysterious would have you believe. It's actually so much more sad and heartbreaking than that. It's literally her adult brain, trying to fill in the gaps left behind, from dissociating when she was a child, while being sexually abused. We learned that it's not uncommon in situations like that, when a brain is trying to fill in those gaps, to vividly remember certain false details. We didn't only read that in the article, Dr. Drew also made a distinction between willfully and knowingly lying, and
here's the thing, right? Okay, so Trisha NC just says, I wish that she would delete the video called How to Seduce Your Teacher, only because it looks bad. It's so sad what happened to her. When you are a young woman who is growing up and developing at a much faster pace than your peers. For myself, I can remember being 10 years old with a set of double D titties, bitch. And I was hypersexualized by numerous different adults around me before I was even able to understand and acknowledge my own sexuality. When you have been hypersexualized for so long, you also believe that this hypersexualization can be used to your advantage, right? You use that hypersexualization to open doors, to speak to the right people, to have more individuals in your corner, to make more relationships. So this level of hypersexualization becomes your norm. Whereas from the outside perspective, to individuals who have never been victims of CSA and see this hypersexualized young lady, this hypersexualized young teen, they'll be like, oh, what a terrible human being. Their parents did such a terrible job with them. But the reality of the situation can sometimes be that socially they have been conditioned to be so hypersexualized that they believe that this is normal. I remember an instance when I was like a young kid. I was like, I don't know, like 7 years old or something. And I remember there was this whole rumor that was taking place within my small village that I was flashing my underwear to boys. I was a kid swinging on a swing in a skirt. But because I was developing faster than my peers, because I looked, more voluptuous than the rest of my peers, because at 10 years old I had titties, I had ass, I was seen as a sexual being before I even was able to understand what sexuality even was. So then that became my norm. So whilst, yeah, it would be great for her to delete that video, I also think that that video is very symptomatic of what can happen to people who are hypersexualized from a young age. And anybody who has had huge boobs and has chosen to get a reduction for said huge boobs will be able to tell you how easy it is for you to be hypersexualized when you don't want to be sexualized. That's one of the things that a lot of people who have breast reductions talk about, is the fact that they aren't viewed in the same sexual nature that they were before they even opened their mouth, because the public perspective was, this is a sexual being, look, they have the assets that everybody wants to look at,
and remembering false details due to trauma. This isn't a stretch on my part. You watched with your own eyes, Trisha describing exactly what we read about. It's a very real thing, and it affects a lot more people than just Trisha. Mysterious has asked, how can we even know that it happened at all, due to Trisha's mental health, and the fact that she sometimes has difficulty discerning what's reality and what isn't? The answer is simple. There's a second victim of the same teacher who said they were touched inappropriately by him too. There's also several verifiable former students, plus the chief of police, who remember Mr. R being fired after getting caught being sexually inappropriate while children were in his classroom. Trisha and Morgan both said that Mr. R touched them inappropriately during the game Heads Up 7-Up when nobody else could see. So naturally, Mysterious came up with multiple reasons why that can't be true. Here's one of her reasons.
So if we're going off what Morgan is saying, she confirmed it was a game of Heads Up 7-Up. What I don't understand is how this teacher could possibly get handsy with anyone during Heads Up 7-Up, because Heads Up 7-Up is a game where there.
Heads Up 7-Up is not the game played in the way that you think that the game is played. There are multiple different ways for you to play Heads Up 7-Up. My recollection of Heads Up 7-Up when I was a minor was exactly the way that Trisha depicted. I've never known any other way to play Heads Up 7-Up.
There are 7 students walking around the classroom putting other students' thumbs down. So that is a part of the story that I do not understand at all. How could this teacher do this stuff with these people? I just don't understand how it's possible when there's 7 students with their heads up.
How in the hell is it possible for a teacher to achieve the things that are being claimed if Heads Up 7-Up is a game where there are 7 students that are standing up with their eyes open while the rest of the class has their heads down on the desk with their thumbs up?
Despite what Mysterious would have you believe, there's actually more than one way to play the game. One popular way to play begins with every student having their heads down, facing their desks, with their eyes closed and their thumbs up.
And that was the way that I played when I was growing up.
The teacher then walks around the students, while none of them can see anything, and secretly chooses one student to be it by pushing their thumb down. At my school growing up, that's how the game would begin. And in order to keep the students from being able to easily hear who the teacher walked up to and selected, the teachers would take their time walking around the students, stopping at various different students' desks to try to make it more difficult to tell who was being selected. Some of my teachers would even turn the lights off or dim the lighting to try to prevent anyone from cheating. When you Google how to play Heads Up 7-Up, the version that begins with all of the students having their heads down, facing their desks, with their eyes closed, can be found on the very first page of Google's search results in the first 2 links.
Just kidding, just goes, dang, what brought all of us big boob girls here at once? Sometimes the world takes us where we need to be. Hallelujah, girl. Hallelujah. Breast reduction city for me, girl.
It gives you. As you can see, it's a fairly common way to play the game, and seems to be the way Mr. R played it with his students, since Trisha and Morgan said he would do it during Heads Up 7-Up, when nobody else could see. So when Mysterious insinuated it would have been practically impossible for Mr. R to touch anyone inappropriately during Heads Up 7-Up, because there's always 7 kids with their heads up who would have been able to see him doing it, that was false. That's only true for some versions of the game, but not for every version of the game. Not only was Mysterious wrong.
Ducky Momo just says, if a person is inappropriate enough to people, they will know how to do it without people noticing. She mentioned Jimmy Savile earlier, and there is literally footage of him assaulting people on live television. That is 100% correct. When people started looking back retrospectively of how Jimmy Savile was touching young teenage girls, people found it entirely inappropriate. But that was in hindsight, because he was doing it in plain sight in front of everybody's faces.
Wrong about that, but I have reason to suspect that she might have actually known, or at least became aware, that there is a popular version of the game that would have allowed Mr. R to touch students inappropriately, without anyone being able to see, just as Morgan and Trisha described. In Mysterious' video, the screenshots she used to demonstrate how to play the game actually came from one of the very same web pages I showed you earlier that shows other ways to play, including the version Mr. R seems.
Wait, so the reference it was that she took to say that it was virtually impossible because there would have had to have been 7 other students with their eyes open for him to have done this in secret. That exact same article is the same article that Dramatology is referencing, where they detail that there are multiple ways to play the same game. Do you see the misdirection? Do you see how you were fed information to form a particular narrative that did not align with the narrative it was that that person was pushing? Do you see that now? So in that exact same article, it details to people who go on the WikiHow that there are multiple different ways to play it, and here are the varying different ways you can play this game. And she said that it was impossible for nobody else to have been able to see what took place. Mysterious, how the fuck do you sleep at night? Are you not embarrassed? Is this not embarrassing for you? This is fucking disgusting. And where is your voice? You speak so much. When your name comes into various different subjects, you were so quick to hop on the internet after months and months and months being apart to tell the internet, hey, I apologize to Adam. Where is your voice now? Where is your voice now that you are being disproven? Are you going to change your narrative? Are you going to take down videos? Are you going to acknowledge that there may have been a lapse at the very minimum in your research? Or do you not care? The same way you didn't care about the alleged victim of Jake Paul. How you allegedly didn't care about the alleged victims of Shane Dawson. How you didn't care about numerous different allegations that have come forward, including individuals like Jeffree Star. How you dispelled the allegations against them because those victims are lying. You don't care. You never cared. And you don't give a shit.
To have played. Her screenshots show that she got them from WikiHow, from an article about how to play Heads Up 7-Up. The link you have to click on to get to the page is even titled 3 Ways to Play Heads Up 7-Up. So before she even clicked on the link, she would have seen there were multiple ways to play the game. Then after clicking on the link, at the very top of the page, it states again that it's going to show 3 different methods of playing the game. When she was reading how to play and taking her screenshots, it showed method 1. That's another pretty big indicator that there's more than one method of playing the game. When she read the 4th step of how to play the first method, which she included a screenshot of in her video, right below that is method 2. Method 2 begins with all of the students' heads down, facing their desks, with their eyes closed, not being able to see anything. On top of that, some people in her comments and live chat would try to tell her that she's wrong, and that there actually are versions of the game that begin with all students not being able to see anything, while the teacher secretly selects someone. However, Mysterious has never acknowledged she had gotten that wrong. Mysterious spent at least some amount of time on a web page that was all about there being multiple ways to play the game. So was she just extremely...
And just fucking denied it. And just fucking denied that there was any other way to play the game. This is just a terrible, terrible priming and prepping of the audience. This is awful. This is shocking.
negligent and didn't do her due diligence by even bothering to take a look at the other ways to play before insinuating what Morgan and Trisha said wasn't possible. Or was it that Mysterious actually did look at the other ways to play the game and knowingly painted Trisha and Morgan out to be liars in regard to something she knew they could be telling the truth about? Either way is completely disgusting. Mysterious also insinuated that Morgan and Trisha may have been lying about Mr. R playing Heads Up 7-Up at all.
This Morgan person said that they played Heads Up 7-Up. My first question about Heads Up 7-Up, because I've been thinking about this a lot, okay? Now, the teacher in question, he taught as a high school teacher most of his career. So why would a high school teacher that's teaching middle school play a game like Heads Up 7-Up? That's one thing that doesn't make any sense.
I find it odd that an advanced high school teacher like Mr. R would play such an elementary game like Heads Up 7-Up anyways.
Perhaps, if Mysterious had spent less time...
I played my first dose of Heads Up 7-Up in high school. What the fuck? We also have to appreciate that Dramatology has gone out of their way to watch all of the fucking live streams. Because, girl, this woman has made so many live streams on Trisha Paytas. It is crazy. We are talking over 16 hours of Trisha Paytas content in live streams alone. So we have to appreciate that she's gone through all of the live streams, because I haven't seen all of this, girl. I had no idea that she was even making up these kind of narratives. Period.
I'm looking for ways to discredit Trisha and Morgan, and instead spent more time listening to what they were actually saying, then maybe she wouldn't have to even ask why Mr. R was playing Heads Up 7-Up with his students, because she'd already know the creepy answer. Putting that aside, just the notion in general that Heads Up 7-Up is strictly a game for elementary-aged students is a pretty flimsy argument in her campaign to discredit Trisha and Morgan. Here's members from Mysterious' own live chat telling her they didn't only play it in elementary school. And here's a clip of Mysterious getting angry at someone for saying their teacher played Heads Up 7-Up with the lights turned off.
During Heads Up 7-Up, my teacher would turn off the lights and close the blinds. What are you talking about? I'm done.
It's so clear that she's so unfamiliar with the game, like at all in any capacity. Because yes, that is very common. That's how we used to play it. They used to draw the blinds, they would turn the lights off and play Heads Up 7-Up. And we would usually do that at the end of the class if there was like 10 to 15 minutes to burn. Oh.
I'm done addressing this. And no, I've never seen anybody play Heads Up 7-Up with the lights off. If you played Heads Up 7-Up, let me know if the lights were off and the blinds were closed. That's creepy as fuck.
If Mysterious didn't have an agenda, why would it make her angry that someone said their teacher turned the lights off during Heads Up 7-Up? She wasn't on a fact-finding mission, she was on a mission to discredit Trisha, and by extension, Morgan. If Mysterious had looked it up, instead of getting angry, she would have seen that some teachers do dim the lighting or turn the lights off completely. As I mentioned earlier, some of my teachers also turn the lights off. And here's members from Mysterious' own live chat saying their teachers turned the lights off as well. Now that we've debunked the various reasons Mysterious used to try to discredit Trisha,
Dawn Maria just goes, that's so malicious. Yeah. And this is why I believe there was malicious intent to create these videos. But my question is, what is the vested interest beyond her association or enjoyment or stanship, if you will, of Shane Dawson to do this? And I'm trying to figure out what the vested interest is. I've seen a lot of people in this chat say her vested interest is money, but I'd like to see evidence towards that. We'll see.
and Morgan, in regard to them saying they were touched inappropriately during Heads Up 7-Up. I want to take a moment to point out that at the beginning of Heads Up 7-Up, Mr. R had as much time as he wanted to touch whichever students he wanted to inappropriately. There was no time limit. He could take however long he wanted, walking around to various students before pushing a student's thumb down. Every student would have had their heads facing down on their desks, with their eyes closed. He may have even dimmed the lighting or turned off the lights. During the beginning of this game, the kids were basically sitting ducks, with their eyes closed, and their heads down, facing their desks, and possibly even with the lights turned off. They wouldn't have even been able to see it coming ahead of time before Mr. R touched them inappropriately. They were just children. They didn't deserve what was happening to them, and they sure as hell don't deserve someone like Mysterious trying to tell them that what they experienced didn't happen. Mysterious repeatedly said she thought it was wrong for Trisha and Morgan to make accusations against a man who isn't a public figure, who has passed away and can't defend himself.
I just want this guy's name cleared. It's just so reckless on so many levels. This guy couldn't defend himself. I know if this...
I just want this guy's name cleared. He's just so Girl, shut the fuck up. Shut up. You have no idea. You have no knowledge, and you are intentionally... This is the thing. I can't even say you're just stupid. Like, we're at the point now where I can't just say you're stupid. You're just stupid. You're a person who doesn't do good research, and you're just stupid because you are intentionally twisting the narratives. You went onto a page of 3 different ways to play Heads Up 7-Up and negate every other way but method 1, and then told your audience that it is impossible for nobody else to have seen this take place. How do you sleep at night?
Was like one of my family members that had passed away or something like that. Like, I would be devastated. I just felt like I had to do something. It's insane that she can just get on her platform and do something like that to somebody that isn't even alive, that can't even defend himself. The guy can't even defend himself, man. He can't even defend himself. He's not even a public figure.
In these same videos, where Mysterious was calling Trisha and Morgan out for making accusations against Mr. R when he wasn't a public figure and isn't alive anymore to defend himself, Mysterious was simultaneously making her own accusations against Trisha's stepdad, who also wasn't a public figure and has also passed away and can't defend himself. Mysterious speculated that Trisha was essayed by her stepdad, and that Trisha was projecting onto Mr. R the things her stepdad actually did to her.
Shut the fuck up. Tell me that did not happen. Tell me that did not happen. Tell me that did not happen. Tell me that didn't fucking happen. Katie Lady says, yeah. Girl, what? I think we're about to hear it. Shut the fucking front door. So, hold on. So, she said that the allegations, what's that? Wait. The Trisha Paytas' stepdad did stuff to her, so she's misplacing her anger to somebody else? Say it ain't so in the fucking Lions. Say it ain't so. Sakura just says, at Paige Christie, yes, it happened and it's about to get worse. What a wild allegation. What a fucking wild allegation. Oh my God, that's disgusting. Trisha should sue. Who is Mysterious T Girl? At this point, I wouldn't even know who the girl is. She's one of those anon content creators. She can walk away and pretend like this is... She doesn't even have to return back to her YouTube channel another day and live quite a happy life. How do you sue somebody like this? Disgusting.
Before I play these clips, I want to make something absolutely clear. Trisha has never accused her stepdad of essaying her. And nobody that is in Trisha's life has accused him of essaying Trisha. No one has ever accused this man of essaying them. This is a narrative Mysterious created on her own and spread throughout multiple videos.
I think Trisha has trauma. I'm never going to deny that. I think she has trauma, and it was happening in her own home. That's what I think is the real trauma. I think she has trauma. I really think she does. But I don't think it was these teachers. I think it was happening in her own home.
Husband number 4, which is Trisha's second stepdad. He came into the picture when she was in middle school, which would be around the age of 12. Now, I know this husband was around the age of 12 because she talks about him in her book and it takes place during that time. Considering how much Trisha has talked about the Mr. R story and the age that it takes place, what if she's twisting what happened with her stepdad onto this teacher?
One thing I want to tell you guys, I believe Trisha's trauma was happening in her own home. I think he was stepdad number 3. It was her 4th husband, though, which would have put her at about 12 years old. What if she's twisting this story onto this teacher because of her mom's ex-husband? That's another part of it that I've been thinking about a lot, and it lines up with the timeline.
How can Mysterious get in a video and cry tears about Mr.
I'm sorry. That is fucking vile. That is fucking vile. How dare she? I had absolutely no idea that this even took place because I don't watch the live stream girls. Sometimes this girl will be live streaming for like 4 hours. I don't watch the live streams. I don't have time. But I had no idea that she was throwing out the narrative to her audience that Trisha potentially would have been sexually assaulted in some way by a person who lived in her own home, most pointedly, potentially one of her stepdads, who is also a passed away man, meaning that her narrative of they can't defend themselves is fucking bullshit at this point because you seem to not subscribe by that same fucking policy. A man who has had no accusations, no corroborating evidence, no people giving witness statements to have at least known or heard something of that nature. For what fucking reason? That's the most disgusting. How do you sleep at night? Sad Popsicle says it's so crazy that people would watch her live streams. I would always leave hate comments because she sounded delusional. Yeah. Munchkin just says, this chick goes through life deciding what's reality for everyone. Psycho behavior. This is fucking vile. This is one of the vilest things I've ever heard. She needs to take a very good look in the fucking mirror.
R, being accused of things when he's dead and can't defend himself, but then turn right around, in the same damn video, plus multiple other videos, and make essay allegations against someone who's also dead and can't defend himself either. And to top it off, it's also a man Mysterious has never even met, that she's creating essay allegations against, on behalf of someone, who never even said this person essayed them. While Mysterious was actively accusing Trisha's stepdad of essay, she even had the nerve to say she's not the kind of person to accuse someone of committing a
Dr. Tanya J just said, so after alienating Trisha for speaking about her CSA, she dares to accuse another deceased man of doing the same. That's exactly what took place. I'm actually genuinely shocked by that. That's sick.
crime they didn't commit.
But not everybody gets on their platform and accuses people of crimes that they didn't commit. And not people that aren't even public figures. That makes it so much worse, too. I don't just accuse people of crimes that have not committed crimes. Come on, man.
Mysterious is right, not everybody gets on their platform and accuses people of crimes they didn't commit, but Mysterious sure as hell does. That is exactly what she did. Not only did Mysterious accuse Trisha's stepdad of assaying her, and accuse Trisha of blaming it on Mr. R, Mysterious also went as far as to tell her audience that not only was Trisha's stepdad assaying her, but that Trisha's mom didn't even give a shit about it.
I think Trisha has trauma. I'm never going to deny that. I think she has trauma, and it was happening in her own home. That's what I think is the real trauma. And her mom did not give a shit. That's what I think.
As you can imagine, as a direct result of
What fucking alternate reality is she living in? Is she okay? Like, genuinely, now I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm actually concerned. Like, are you okay? What's wrong with you? Who does this? Who? I genuinely thought at the time that I was creating my video that was directly against the narrative that Mysterious had, that I was dealing with somebody who genuinely believed the shit that was coming out of their mouths. Who genuinely believed something to be in bad faith. And that it was just simply a difference of perspectives. Now I'm seeing the twisting of narratives, the changing of realities, and then the accusations of CSA taking place in somebody else's home, of which nobody at any point has made any accusation of. Like, now I'm at the point where, like, I'm genuinely, like, what is wrong with you? Are you okay? Like, genuinely, who hurt you?
Mysterious pushing the narrative that she believes it was actually Trisha's stepdad who essayed Trisha, and that Trisha's mom didn't even care about it. People began harassing Trisha's mom. Because this person believed Mysterious lie that Trisha was essayed by her stepdad.
Wait, so there's a comment here that says, don't believe all the essay accusations Trisha has come out with, but I do believe her mother's partner did something traumatic to Trisha. And it's disgusting how her mother can talk about how lovely he was. I don't like Trisha, but no one should have to go through that. So people were like genuinely successfully influenced over this. How old is she? She sounds old enough not to be acting like this. She sounds older than me. She has a 12-year-old, so I'm guessing she's definitely most likely going to be in her 40s.
Here they are, saying how disgusting they think Trisha's mom is, for talking about what a lovely guy Trisha's stepdad was. Here's another person, repeating Mysterious' narrative that Trisha was essayed by her stepdad, and saying Trisha's mom needs to seek help, for saying she regrets not reaching out to the man that essayed her daughter, before he passed away. And here's another person, saying Trisha's mom has severe issues, for still having love for a man that screwed her own child. There's an endless amount of comments just like those, and even much worse ones, directed to and about Trisha's mom. It's a direct result of Mysterious videos.
Fucking justice for Mr. Patus at this point. What the fuck? I don't know how anyone could co-sign this behavior. This is the worst part. It made me so angry. Yeah, it's made me angry as well.
Trisha's mom was receiving so much harassment, she had to private her YouTube channel.
Her channel is gone. Let's look. Oh, shit. That's very telling, you guys.
And some people took Mysterious so seriously that they even started calling the cops on Trisha's mom.
My mom is getting the cops called on her. Oh, so that's what she was crying about in her mental breakdown. Because she was saying her mom is having people call her. And I was just sitting there thinking, like, what the fuck's she talking about? Oh, this all makes sense now. This is all tying together. God damn.
Something that they know nothing about. People are calling the cops.
Mysterious was essentially writing fanfic about Trisha being abused by her stepdad and blaming it on Mr. R. It's grotesque. It's hard to believe that this woman was celebrated, including by big YouTubers, for this kind of disgusting behavior. Mysterious has 2 main videos about the Mr. R situation.
Right, okay, I am desperate for the loo, so I'm going to put a be right back screen on. I will be back in less than 5 minutes. I just need a wee. Okay, a bitch is back. Right, let's carry on. So far, we have learned that Mysterious is not only malicious, but she's possibly batshit crazy. Let's continue. We've got like another third of the video to go, so let's watch the rest.
Plus several live streams discussing it. The first main video is episode 1, part 2. The second one is an updated version of that episode that she released 5 weeks after the first one. The 2 videos have nearly 1 million views combined. At the beginning of the first episode too, Mysterious said she would donate the money she earned from the episode to charity.
If YouTube monetizes today's video, I will be donating a good chunk of the ad revenue to the charity that's listed in the description box down below.
She stated it again multiple times during live streams. Here's one of those times.
I'm donating the money off that video.
She said she was going to host a fundraiser stream so people could also donate to charity, while she shared what she donated from the first episode too.
I think you can do like fundraisers. So I was going to actually do like a fundraiser stream for anybody that wanted to also donate to the charity.
And that was like one of the other things that I like noticed in the comment section. If you go back to the comment section of my last video to do with Trisha Paytas and Mysterious T, not the last video but the one before that, the mysterious case of Trisha Paytas, in that video a lot of the comments were like, and you're doing this video for profit, you're trying to make money off it, and Mysterious T is donating everything, you are a terrible person because the things that you choose to talk about as your job you decide to make profit from. That was like one of the main things. It was like this moral grandstanding that was taking place within my comment section, that I was a terrible person because, you know, my money wasn't going to charity because I'd worked hard on the research and I'd done what it was that I needed to do. I still had like charity references in the description, I do believe, you know, for people who may be affected to go to XYZ. But because, you know, I chose to keep the money it is that I made from the video, I was like a terrible person. So I would be interested to know if money did get donated, because I have absolutely no idea.
Well, I told you guys how much I actually got to donate. I have a whole thing planned for it. So, yeah.
Mysterious never hosted a fundraiser stream to show her donation. Instead, about a week after she uploaded her second episode 2, she did a regular live stream to show her donation receipts from the first episode 2 that she put out. During the donation livestream, Mysterious said she wasn't sure of the exact amount of money she earned from the first episode 2, and said she couldn't show what she earned from it because it had temporarily been taken down at one point before being put back up. She said she had a pretty good idea of what it earned though, so that's what she donated.
I have no idea how much money that that video generated because it's completely gone. It's like it never existed. There's just like a gray box that shows where the video was. It doesn't tell you how much ad revenue it made, nothing like that. But I have an idea of what it would have generated, which is what I donated. So I still donated a large chunk.
Okay, let's do some research, shall we, gang? Let's do some research. Okay, so we have Mysterious T's first video. Hold up. Mysterious T, Trisha. Let's see what their first video was. This was the video is that they came back with apologizing for Shane Dawson. So Mysterious T's first video on Trisha Paytas. I think it's this one, the dark side. Yeah, this one. 795,000 views. Posted 2 years ago. Okay. Right. Give me a second. I'm just going to have a look at my personal YouTube analytics and try and find a video. How long was this video for metadata? 1.24 hours. Okay, I'm gonna go into my YouTube studio real quick and see if I can find a video that's relatively the same amount of time and the same amount of views to see how much potential earnings there could have been for possibly a video of this nature. Bear with me, I won't take too long. Filter views. Let's do 700,000. Okay, apply. Wait, can I do that? Filter, views, more than, apply. Okay, so my last video that has 776,000 views. How long was that? 30 minutes. Oh, I've got a video around the same amount. So I have a video that is 888,000 views. That is how Tyra Banks ruined people's lives. It is 1 hour and 25 minutes. So we're looking at the same demographic right here. Monetization. Let me see. In analytics. Girl. She made a lot of money off that first video, girl. So just to give you guys like full transparency, for a video that I made, when did this video come out? The 18th of February 2022. So last year. So just over a year and a half, that has about 100,000 views more than Mysterious T's video. In total, and this is in pounds, not dollars. So we got to add some additional value in dollars. But I made, for this particular video, £8,525.27 for a video I made a year and a half ago with only 100,000 views more. Girl, she was making bank. Because I don't get these videos come across my channel that often. I don't make this kind of money that often at all. At all. She was making bank off these videos, girl. Bank. That's for one video. Yes, yes. And it can be like that if you have a good month. But like if you're a normal person like me who just gets, you know, the odd 50,000 views, we don't make those kind of digits that often. So that was a lot of money that I made off that one video. That's in total cumulatively over the past year and a half. So that's like as archivable content and as a new video. But still, that's quite a lot of money. Okay, let's see what sis did. Because now, you know when you guys said to me, oh, the vested interest is money, I'm beginning to think it might have been now.
Chunk of money. I just don't know if it was the exact amount.
She showed receipts for 2 donations. Instead of making the donation stream a fundraiser stream, Mysterious
She showed the receipts for 2 donations. Girl, what was the donations?
And to also donate to the charity while I told you guys how much I actually got to donate. I have a whole thing planned for it, so yeah.
Mysterious never hosted a fundraiser stream to show her donation. Instead, about a week after she uploaded her second episode 2, she did a regular live stream to show her donation receipts from the first episode 2 that she put out. During the donation live stream, Mysterious said she wasn't sure of the exact amount of money she earned from the first episode 2, and said she couldn't show what she earned from it because it had temporarily been taken down at one point before being put back up. She said she had a pretty good idea of what it earned though, so that's what she donated.
Receipts.
I have no idea how much money that that video generated because it's completely gone. It's like it never existed. There's just like a gray box that shows where the video was. It doesn't tell you how much ad revenue it made, nothing like that. But I have an idea of what it would have generated, which is what I donated. So I still donated a large chunk of money. I just don't know if it was the exact amount.
She showed receipts.
Hold on, it says Friday, October 22nd, $1,000. Shut the fuck up. Right, okay, hold on. Research time, the 22nd of October. Let's go to this video. When was this video released? August! No way. No fucking way she would have made more than $1,000 than that. No way. No fucking way. Hold on. No way. No. Don't fucking piss on my face and tell me it's goddamn raisin. No fucking way. No way. The 3rd of August. August, September, October. That would have been 2 months later. Shut up. No, she would have made more than $1,000. Way more than $1,000. Way more than $1,000. Way more than $1,000. And I'm very conservative with my ad placements. We do every like 5 to 7 minutes on my channel because I don't like people to be bombarded with way too many ads. So I don't know how many ads sis is putting in there, but you definitely, for an hour and 24-minute video where the CPM watch time will be probably 16 minutes plus? No way. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. It was not $1,000. That is a wildly underestimated guesstimate. Wildly underestimated guesstimate for a 2-month-old video. Wildly. I would be interested to find out how many views this video had in October. Wayback Machine. Okay, we're doing some more research. Hold on. Copy. We'll go to Wayback Machine. This is what we do on my live streams, guys. We just research as we go along. Wayback Machine. Here we go. Wayback Machine. Close that. Open this. Paste. Do we have any views for that? Oh, we only have one in 2023. The last archive date was October 2023. God damn. Let's try a different link real quick. Because there's that link and then there's the link that YouTube give you. So let's try the YouTube link. Hold on. Paste. Wait, why is that not working? Share. Copy, copy, copy. Close. Paste. Here we go. Okay, so YouTube hasn't archived the other Earl. I would be interested to know how many views that video had in 2 months. That would be very interesting to find out, because that is, the math is not mathing on that one at all. At all. I'm thinking like 2 to 3 grand already in 2 months. Easy. And that's in pounds, not dollars. $1,000 in pounds is like 860 pounds. What? 860 pounds in 2 months? No, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Not for a video that long where your average views per minute is going to be even more. No, I'm not buying it. Sorry. I'm not buying it. That is wild to me.
It's for 2 donations. Instead of making the donation stream a fundraiser stream, Mysterious repeatedly told her viewers that if they purchased super chats during that live stream, that she would donate the super chats to charity. She also said she'd donate any ad revenue from that donation live stream to charity as well. She said she would host a second donation live stream after she gets the payout from her second episode too, and that in the second donation live stream, she would show the receipts for donating the super chats and ad revenue from the first donation live stream, as well as show the receipts for donating whatever she ended up earning from the second episode too.
And any super chats during the stream and the stream ad revenue from this stream will go back to the charities as well. And like I said, all the super chats from this stream and any ad revenue from this stream will go back to the charities again. And then we'll do all of that once I get the payout from the one that I just re-uploaded. Like I said, all your super chats are going to go back to both the charities. So yeah, your super chats are going to good use.
Here's some more instances of Mysterious saying she would be donating the money from the second episode too, as well as saying again that she would be holding a second donation live stream to show the receipts of her donating what she earned from the second episode 2 video.
When I upload part 2 again, I'm going to leave ads on it for a month straight, and hopefully the video won't get taken down, and then I'll donate that money to another charity, because I don't want to keep the money off that video at all. I will be donating the ad revenue to the charity that's listed in the description box down below. Once I get the next one, we will be doing the same thing, and I'll show you guys the receipts for that one as well.
It's been 2 years since then, and Mysterious never hosted the second donation live stream. She has never shown the receipts for donating the super chats and ad revenue from the first donation live stream. She has also never shown.
We had the exact same situation take place. Remember when I made my Colleen Ballinger video and I said that Colleen Ballinger needs to make, show the receipts? If you have nothing to hide, you have no reason to hide receipts. I'm imploring Mysterious T to show the receipts of the total amount it is that she made from these videos.
Receipts for donating whatever she earned from the second episode 2 that she had uploaded. After the first donation live stream, she never even spoke again about the rest of the money she had said she would donate, or about the second donation live stream she had previously said she would do to show the receipts. Well, let me correct that. She never spoke about it again until I confronted her during one of her live streams several months ago. Here's Mysterious admitting she never showed the donations from the super chats and ad revenue she got from her donation stream.
You didn't donate the super chats and the ad revenue from the donation stream like you said you would. Yeah, I did. I just didn't show that. I can show it to you. I'd have to go back in my bank account to find it, but I can show it.
You can go to your YouTube studio like I just did. What do you mean you have to go back to your bank account? You don't have to go to your bank account. Your bank account will show you the total ad revenue of your entire channel that you got from Google. Yeah, sure. But you could go to your YouTube studio like I just did. It isn't hard. You can even accurately search like I just did. Nah, that's fishy as fuck. I'm sorry. That is fishy. That is fishy. That is fishy. That is fishy. You can go to YouTube Studio like I just did in this live stream, live with you guys right now, and see how much your video earned within a specific time period. You don't have to go to your bank account for that. You don't have to search months backwards. You can search your content, and for a channel that I do believe has under 50 videos, it really wouldn't be that hard to find back. Nah. 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 It's smelling like fish. It's smelling like fish. It's smelling like fresh tilapia, sweetie.
Put to you. That was like over a year ago. But yeah, I said I was going to donate the super chats and that ad revenue from that stream. It wasn't like a crazy amount of money, but I can show it to you guys if you want to see it. But I'd have to dig it out. That's like going back a year in my bank account. So, but I can find it if you want me to find it. Yes, show it. Okay. Okay, I'll dig it up and I'll show you guys if that's what you want. Jesus Christ.
In the clip, she says she'll find the receipts for her donations and show them. That was months ago and she still hasn't shown them. Not only that, but I was the one that asked her about it and she actually blocked me right after I told her yes, I do want her to show the receipts.
After she said, yeah, show me the receipts. If sis, if you're telling the truth, show me the receipts. She was like, block. Girl, it's smelling like tuna. It's smelling like sardines. It's smelling like anchovies, bitch. It's smelling like haddock. This is fishy as fuck. I'm not saying you did anything, but I would like to see the receipts. Because this is smelling fishy. This is smelling very fishy. When this part is mentioned, I recall it from the stream and her stans went along with her and were mad bullying and said that it's Trisha on her other account. What's the comment saying? Oh my God, literally on the screen it says, I swear this is Trisha. Don't pay any attention. This is Trisha. Literally on the screen. One sec, let me take the chat box away so that you guys can see this real quick. Literally on the screen, right? Here we have, don't pay any attention, it's Trisha. Another comment directly underneath it that says, I swear this is Trisha. We don't need you to prove yourself to anybody. It's trolling. Mysterious, do you think it would help if Trisha made a huge apology? Oh, that's something else. Yeah. Girl, you said it and I saw it. You said it and I saw it, bitch.
You can tell it's my account, because my name is highlighted every time someone tagged me in the live chat. You can also see the proof that she blocked me, because anything I said to her doesn't show up in the live chat anymore. For instance, when she said,
yes, show it.
That was my comment in the live chat that she read out loud. But as you can clearly see, me saying yes, show it, doesn't show up in the live chat at all. That's because she blocked me after I said I do want to see the receipts. So after Mysterious said she would show the receipts if we wanted her to, and I responded with yes, I wanted her to show them, she blocked me. She claimed she did make the donations, but just never showed it.
I don't know
you
if
heard
I
her
wanna,
say she would show them. After
I don't know if I want to make this swift judgment, but isn't it like highly fucking illegal to state that you're going to be donating all of the proceeds of something to charity and then not do said thing? Like, that's illegal, right? I need you guys to respond. That is illegal, right? It is. Yes, it's illegal. Yep, I think it's also against YouTube's terms of service. Facts.
After I said I wanted her to. That was 6 months ago. She has still never shown them, even though she's made over 10 videos and live streams since then. Mysterious acted like it would have been too difficult, or a time-consuming task, to find the receipts and show them right then. She made it seem like she would have to dig through physical copies of her bank statements and comb through each one to try to find the receipts. That's bullshit. She could have literally just used the search bar in her email to find the confirmation emails. It would have only taken her a few minutes.
Oh, she could have just gone to YouTube Studio. YouTube Studio shows you the total amount it is that you make with YouTube's deductions. So YouTube, when you make a YouTube video, a live stream or whatever, they take so with live stream donations, they take a 30% share of the donations it is that you receive. When it comes to video monetization in terms of adverts, they take a 40% share and you retain the 60. When you go to YouTube Studio and you search for the total amount of money it is that you made from the video, it shows you your money because YouTube have already taken out theirs. So she literally could have just went to the YouTube Studio and showed exactly what it is that she made for that video, because that would have been her earnings and not a combination of hers and YouTube's. So she doesn't even need to show an email confirmation. It's on her studio. Tilapia, bitch.
To find them, block out her personal information, and then show the receipts right there in her stream. So just to reiterate, Mysterious didn't hold the second donation live stream like she said she would, and she has never shown any proof that she donated the super chats and ad revenue from the first donation stream or any receipts for donating what she earned from the second episode too. I find it extremely problematic that instead of holding a fundraiser stream like she had said she would, she instead turned on the super chats and repeatedly told people if they purchase super chats, it will go to charity, and that she'd show proof of the donation. And not only didn't show that proof, but actually blocked me for even asking about it. I want to play the clips once again of Mysterious repeatedly telling her viewers if they purchase super chats that she'll donate it to charity.
And any super chats during the stream and the stream ad revenue from this stream will go back to the charities as well. And like I said, all the super chats from this stream and any ad revenue from this stream will go back to the charities again. And then we'll do all of that once I get the payout from the one that I just re-uploaded. Like I said, all your super chats are going to go back to both the charities.
Do you know what's the wildest thing? Right, listen to this. And I'm not gonna show you guys because it's a private conversation. But there's a content creator who's currently doing some research on Mysterious Tea. Let me go to Twitter. There is a content creator who's currently doing some research on Mysterious Tea, and they told me some information like about a couple of days ago that is so interesting to me. Here we go. They said in one of their live streams alone, discrediting Morgan, who is the other person who corroborated Trisha Paytas' claims, she made over $1,200 in super chats. That's before YouTube's cut is taken. Meaning that she made over $1,000 in super chats alone in one video. That's before ad revenue on the video itself. So that's before she switches on the ads, because how adverts work here on YouTube, right? Let me get off that page so that people don't see who messaged me. Here we go. So what happens with YouTube and the ad revenue on videos and stuff, right? So you guys, everyone who's here tonight who is watching this live stream on YouTube, you guys will get an advert at the beginning of the stream and at the end of the stream. But throughout the stream, during the stream, you guys won't receive any ads at all. When this video goes live and public after the live stream, I am able to add adverts in, or YouTube will also add their own adverts in time. But there is an opportunity to add adverts in after the live stream, meaning that the people who are watching and the donations it is that you receive, that's the real-time money is that you're going to be generating. But the residual payments it is that you will get through the live stream becoming public and people being able to view it and the ads that have been placed upon that video is a completely separate income. So there are two avenues of income that were happening on these live streams. I was supposed to believe it was $1,000, girl. When one person who's researching and watched one of your live streams counted over $1,200 in super chats alone, outside of your residual payments for the live stream itself when you add adverts. Tilapia, anchovies, tuna, salmon, bitch. It's fishy.
So yeah, your super chats are going to good use.
The second Mysterious told her viewers if they spend their own hard-earned money on purchasing super chats, that she would see to it that it goes to the charities that she spent time telling them about, and that she would be transparent and show them the receipts. She obligated herself to do just that. She took those people's money under the guise it was going to charity, and that they'd be able to see the receipts of it. So she can act as bent out of shape as she wants to about me asking about it, but it's the people she took money from that she owes those receipts to. I don't care if it's $1 or hundreds of dollars. She chose to take on that responsibility and she needs to see it through. Not to mention, the receipts for the other money she said she'd donate as well. Despite the fact that Trisha and Morgan both came forward to Ethan Klein about how Mr. R essayed them as children, he was one of the largest creators to publicly endorse Mysterious's videos about the Mr. R situation. It was very convenient for Ethan to align himself with Mysterious, considering they were both on a warpath against Trisha. Rather than reaching out to Trisha privately, if Ethan had any questions or concerns.
I don't think at that point that Ethan was on a warpath, and don't get me wrong, I dislike Ethan quite a bit, right? So I'm not a person who like generally tends to advocate for Ethan Klein in general, but I don't think he was on a warpath at that point. I think he was just a individual who was hurt by his friend. I don't think that that's a fair assumption. And look at me, I'm critiquing the video, the very video it is that I'm watching.
Instead, 3 days after Mysterious released her first video about the Mr. R situation, he chose to make a public spectacle by making a big announcement that he was removing episode 17 of Frenemies and basically publicly called on Trisha to respond to the accusations made in Mysterious's video. Even if Ethan didn't want to reach out to Trisha privately, he could have just quietly removed the specific parts of the episode that he didn't want included. Other than wanting to be vindictive, it was completely unnecessary to remove the entire episode.
Right, okay, I see what you mean, because YouTube have a feature in the edit function of videos where you can literally cut out entire sections of a video. So if he wanted to cut out an entire section of a video, he had the opportunity to. But instead of doing that quietly and dealing with it behind the scenes, he made a public spectacle. I see where they're coming from now.
And to make a big public announcement about it. By publicly stating that he was removing the episode until Trisha responds to the accusations made by Mysterious, it put Trisha in a position where she was being pressured by Ethan to publicly recount a point of childhood trauma. It was one thing for Trisha to have discussed her trauma in a setting and situation where she felt safe and comfortable to do so, out of her own volition. But it's an entirely different story to pressure her to talk about it to a hate mob standing by with pitchforks. You have to remember, this was at a time when Trisha had less support than she'd ever had, after being relentlessly attacked for 3 months straight by Ethan and also his fans, after she quit Frenemies. Even Mysterious viewed what Ethan did as trying to force Trisha into responding to her video.
After the tweet that Ethan put out, I know she's going to have to address it. It's
worth noting that the main reason Mysterious's channel had blown up in the first place was because of Ethan's hate mob against Trisha supporting Mysterious after she released the first episode of her Trisha Paytas series. So Mysterious's new fanbase largely consisted of the most rabid sector of Ethan's fanbase, who had already been going after Trisha for months. So between Mysterious putting out the second video of her series and Ethan publicly pressuring Trisha to respond to it, the hate and harassment toward Trisha escalated to unprecedented levels. Her socials were being flooded with people calling for justice for the man who essayed her as a child, and people were even calling the police on her mom.
Malcolm just says, hey, Paige girl, I can't stay long, but I'm at work, but you're killing it, Icon. Thank you so much. If you guys haven't seen It's Malcolm's videos, definitely go and check him out. I stan him the long way. He's been around for a hot minute, but he is possibly one of the good channels that it is that you can take your quick tea from. So definitely go and check him out. But thank you so much for being here.
I have never personally seen someone's CSA be weaponized by a hate mob before, and it was honestly horrific, and it culminated in Trisha reaching out privately to Ethan in a moment of complete desperation and pleading with him to leave her alone. Ethan's response to Trisha begging him to disengage from talking about her was to again demand that Trisha publicly respond to Mysterious's accusations. Trisha told him that he can't tell her how to handle her own CSA. Ethan responded by telling her not to assume she has a right to privacy and informed her that he might decide to publicly share their conversation.
Isn't it wild? And this is why I say that, like, it accumulated in the destruction of Ethan Klein and Trisha Paytas' relationship. Because at this point, they'd had, like, a disagreement over finances and stuff like that with the whole 5% drama and all of that kind of stuff. But it never got this deep. And it's quite evident that, like, Ethan Klein was heavily influenced by Mysterious's video and their recounting of events and changing the narrative and alleged doctoring of evidence and twisting of narratives and not looking at the whole story and just botched journalism in general, that he felt compelled to make her say, like, you need to deal with this, otherwise this is never going to work, right? You need to deal with this situation and tell the world the truth, because I am under the assumption that you are lying. And because of that, that ended up being the total fatality destruction of Ethan Klein and Trisha Paytas' relationship. And I don't know if you guys have seen any like of the clips and stuff that have been going around from like Ethan's basement and stuff. There are like numerous different videos of like Ethan Klein saying that like he misses Trisha. And like I said what I said at the very beginning when it came to frenemies. I'm not a big fan of Ethan Klein. I was never a big fan of Trisha Paytas either. But the connection it was that they had, the kind of content it was that they would produce was magnetic. Even on TikTok today, there are numerous different people taking sound caps from their live streams and reimagining them today. It is one of the most iconic podcasts that has ever been on a YouTube platform, but podcasts in general. People go back and watch the Frenemies podcasts because it was that successful. Two inherently problematic people coming together and creating something so fucking amazing. It was such a good podcast. I don't watch H3H3, but I sure as fuck watch Frenemies. And it wasn't because I was a Trisha Paytas stan. It was because their relationship together, the conversations it was that they would have, was fucking magnetic. They had something special, very special, that is few and far between seen on social media. And it's just wild that this situation that took place with Mysterious T and these allegations was the catalyst for such a destruction in a relationship of two people. And it's clear, even from these clips that I've seen recently, I think they're on like the Frenemies 3 subreddit or whatever, but even from these clips it is that I've seen recently, like he misses Trisha, like he genuinely misses her. And we've all been in a situation where we've fallen out with a friend, but we miss that friend, you know? Wild.
Trisha continued pleading with Ethan, to no avail. Hila told Trisha it was too late, that they weren't going to stop. Trisha asked Ethan if he could at least leave her CSA alone, and told him that it really is taking it too far. Ethan once again brought up Mysterious's video by telling her that her allegations don't line up with the evidence, and that he owes Trisha nothing, and it basically ended with Ethan shouting, "Shame on you, shame." Between Mysterious's video, the escalated harassment from the hate mob, the police being called on her mom, and Ethan and Hila telling Trisha they had no plans to stop, Trisha ended up having a mental breakdown.
My mom is getting the cops called on her for something that they know nothing about. People are calling the cops. I'm fucking having an actual breakdown. No, I'm a fucking liar. I'm demanded to make a statement. I've done a lot of fucked up shit. I have done so much shit, but no one deserves this. This is too fucking much. All of it getting brought up again. They don't care about the truth.
It's sad. You can actually see her like literally fucking having a panic attack. But I will say, Trisha, when you have these panic attacks, please don't post it online. My God. Because even if somebody wanted to be sympathetic to you, like it's very difficult because you keep doing the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you've shown growth and change now, and we don't see this side of you, like, at all, and we haven't for the past 3 years, but my God, girl, like, my God, this is not for the internet. This is for you, even if you just need to speak to the phone to confide in yourself, you know, because maybe you don't have many friends or people that you can feel that you can confide into, but it definitely wasn't for the internet, girl. This is not a great look.
They're hosting some about my mom. Stop, please. Fucking stop. This ain't shame on you both. I was fucking molested and everyone is reminding me of that person's name and telling me to apologize. He said shame. Shame on what? Is it believe all victims or believe all victims except for Trish? Like, make up your fucking mind. Oh my God, where's the fucking compassion? It's literally too much. He said it's too late, but it's not too late yet. It's gonna go too far. It's gonna go too fucking far. I'm fucking scared of that. I'm fucking so scared of it. This is just me being desperate. I'm fucking desperate. Just please stop. This is my real life.
Within minutes of Trisha having that mental breakdown, Mysterious fired up a live stream and acted like it was just coincidental.
Mandalak, I hope I've said that correctly, says Ethan and Hila have said that family stuff goes deeper and they don't want to discuss. It's sad. Yeah, I don't know much about the family stuff. I know that there was like a disintegration between Hila and Moses in their relationship, but my goodness. Thank you so much for the resubscription. I really appreciate it. Trisha doesn't help herself uploading these histronics. I don't even know what that word means. Like that. She openly said that she has fetishized Jewish men. So he made a joke about that. Yeah. I mean, name a community that she hasn't fetishized at this point, girl. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's keep it all the way 100. Katie Lady says Ethan has said he forgives / is willing to forgive Trish, but can't because of Healer. What? Maybe it runs deeper for Healer because of Moses. I can understand that. I don't know why Healer is so bitter. I don't know. Fansexual, so thank you so much for subscribing with Prime. I really appreciate it. Oh, that's right, because Healer is greedy AF. That's why she steals her designs. Girl, I'm not about to go into stolen design shit, okay? You shady bitches. I'm not about to go into stolen designs and all of that kind of stuff. I'm mostly talking about the relationship disintegration. You guys are going to get me in trouble for no reason.
And as though she didn't know anything about Trisha's breakdown prior to people in her live chat telling her about it. I don't buy that bullshit for one single second. I think Mysterious started receiving notifications the second Trisha started having a breakdown, and she hurried up and got on live stream as fast as she could. While Trisha was literally in the middle of having an actual mental breakdown over the situation, Mysterious was so cold and heartless that she spent the next 2 hours live streaming, continuing to question Trisha's CSA. In fact, it was during this live stream that Mysterious discovered that Trisha's mom had to private her YouTube channel. During Trisha's breakdown, Mysterious said, there's a very small chance she could be wrong.
Look, I see Trisha's fans in the chat. They're pissed off at me. I get it. You're pissed off. I get it. You're mad because I'm trying to show the truth here. But at the end of the day, it's like there's a very small fraction that I could be wrong on all of this.
As we've now come to know, Mysterious was actually wrong about a lot of things, even though Trisha was quite literally in the middle of having a complete and total mental breakdown.
Wait, okay, so CJB just says, I'm way behind, but just FYI, Shane asked Mysterious T to expose Trisha. He was Mysterious T's primary source. No fucking way, really? And it was because Trisha was ruining Shane's plan for a comeback at the time. I don't know how much of that I believe, quite frankly, and this is not like to discredit you. Maybe you've got some receipts, but if you have receipts, send them to me. But I don't know how much of that I believe, girl. I don't know.
Mysterious somehow thought it was Ethan, who was having a hard time as a result of her video about Mr. R.
It looks like Ethan is having a hard time. You know, he obviously watched the videos.
Mysterious also seized the opportunity to tell Trisha, in the middle of her already having a breakdown, that if Trisha doesn't confess to her accusations, then things are only going to get worse for her.
If you don't come clean and really, really, really realize what you have done, it's only going to get worse.
2 days after Trisha's public breakdown, she submitted to Ethan's demands in an attempt to get him to reconsider continuing to go after her and using her CSA as a means of doing that. Trisha went out of her comfort zone and released a video titled Addressing Everything. The original video is 30 minutes long, but I've cut out all of the parts that aren't relevant to this video and condensed it to less than 5 minutes. If you're watching this video with it sped up, then you'll probably want to put it back to normal speed for this part because it will already...
Do you know what? Thank you so much for the heads up because apparently we need it at normal speed. Okay, let's go.
...be playing at a fast speed.
All right. Hey guys, I want to make this as short and condensed as possible because I really felt pressured into making this video. It's been a lot for me to process. I felt helpless at my wit's end, and I snapped, and I apologize for it because I had a breakdown for posting it and for anyone who's worried. So there's a difference between misspeaking, hearing things and not getting all the facts right, not fact checking, versus sharing something you know to not be true for the malicious intent of tricking someone or making someone look bad. I'd been told about what I said, and I will correct myself, was arrest for CP, which was actually fired for watching P in a classroom full of kids. I was just getting harassed constantly over the weekend saying, apologize to the person because of a video that someone just Googled some facts, said this person is this, and this. I just wish literally families weren't getting harassed and also I wasn't getting harassed. Now someone did come out, a former classmate of mine, which is, it's easily verifiable that this was a classmate. We were in the exact same class the same year. You can find it in a yearbook and see it. And this person came out, their Twitter account was established in 2012. Everyone's first accused me of making up this account. Why would I make up an account in 2012 with somebody I went to school with's name? This person shared really personal information to verify they were who they said they were. Their dad is prominent in this town, and this person shared all that information, shared text messages with other people we went to school with, talking about this incident, and basically just saying, yeah, like he was creepy, just like I said. I mean, grab me, okay, you know, same situation, we know, during the game, all this stuff, and then, you know, he did get fired for, and then people are making excuses for that even. There's, no matter what I say, it'll never be good enough. And now that someone's come forward, that person's getting harassed. well, first they think it's me, but now there's an actual person getting harassed. Her actual family's getting harassed. I don't want anyone getting harassed in this situation. Now that someone's come forward, it's not good enough. After this weekend, just seeing it spammed, and then also the note from Ethan, and then the text from Ethan being like, you know, you have to make a statement about this. And I was just like, it started the panic mode in me. It was the fight or flight that kicked off. I really started feeling like I did do something wrong in this situation. No one else will ever come forward about anything because they get harassed. Their families get harassed. I will never talk about it again after this. And I really didn't want to. And like I said, I really felt pressured when I reread those text messages. It was a day where all of it just escalated more and more. And it's been my mom and like this family is being harassed, and like now this girl that I went to school with that I haven't talked to in years. It's just going too far. So I just begged and pleaded. I just thought this is the best way. I haven't had communication. I'm gonna just do it. Like, of course they're gonna be like, yes, for everybody's sake, this is the best. Like, it's getting out of hand. But instead it was met with like, you need to make a statement and you don't get to tell us what to do. And it's too little too late. Like, it's not too late until it's too late, until the worst, you know. It's not too late until it's too late. And I was just met with coolness. And the first text back was, just so you know, this isn't a private chat, so this can.
Somebody said exactly, his mother accusing Trisha of having the potential to cause Hila to miscarry. I remember that because obviously this drama was such a huge thing at the time that people were saying that this might overwhelm Hila, and that Trisha Paytas, because she was quote unquote barren in their eyes, was intentionally trying to cause this drama to potentially make Hila miscarry her child. And that was like, that's how wild the internet was back then. Like, people were just blindly believing this crazy shit. It's sad.
We made public. It sent me into an absolute panic when they wrote back, you can't tell us what to do. And I was like, I'm just asking. I'm just pleading. I don't know. I've stopped talking about them. I don't want to continue this. I've made that clear so many times. And all I asked was, can you just not mention us? And they said no.
Okay, so the annotation just says, it's over 2 years later and Ethan and Hila still haven't stopped, even though Trisha hasn't said their names since 2021. I don't watch enough Ethan and Hila content to be able to corroborate that, but I mean, take that with a grain of salt unless you know otherwise.
And when I tried to call and they said everything in writing, and then Moses talked to him, and at the very end, you know, he's like, we'll be cordial with you. And he's like, can you stop talking about Trisha? And he's like, nope, that's what you get when you're married to Trisha Paytas. That was the words verbatim. I was like, wow. Like, at this point, I'm literally not a human. I am literally just an enemy, a target. Like, the fact that I could see these videos and how they could like just look it up and be like, well, this person is this, so they can't possibly do this. Like, the logic just by someone Googling it. I consider myself a pretty strong, mentally strong person right now. I'm on antipsychotics and I had a psychotic breakdown, and that's not good. Now we're demanding people to speak when they're not comfortable, and people are speaking, but then now we're like harassing them and then the person deactivated their account and was scared, and they're like, oh, it must be trash. Where did this person go all of a sudden? It's because you was harassed them. They try to show you information to like, this is real, but no one wants to believe it. No one wants to report on that. No one wants to believe that. It just escalated to a point where I wasn't going to keep talking about it, but then I saw this person being harassed yesterday. It's not even defending me, just sharing their own experience, being like, no, he wasn't arrested, but he was fired for watching this on his computer. There's reasons why class full children. It's honestly so triggering, like seeing the name over and over and just saying apologize, and you're just like, and you start to believe that you did something wrong. I had the biggest, again, just breakdown where I just thought, oh my gosh, like all of it, just shame on you, shame. And I was like, that's what from Ethan. I was just like, I didn't do anything. I just don't know where to go with all of this right now. How do I prove something? It's just a lot. I just needed a minute. I just needed someone to be like, okay, we'll stop talking. I was at my wit's end. I just wanted the world to know, the universe to know. I'm just like, please let them stop talking about me. Just never. I received so much hate, and just also just people trying to spin something. I was in a complete hysteria. Again, I apologize if I worried anybody, but I want it to end. I just wanted to stop. I'm like, it's literally like I'm just begging. I'm hoping this just ends it. It's seeing that specific situation.
Mantalot just says, they said that Donna shouldn't have got involved and they denounced what she said. That's good. Timmy just says, yeah, it was a crazy time. Ethan and Hila definitely still talk about it. Deesnet says, does Ethan have a crush? That's speculation. I've heard that speculation pop around a few times. I don't know if it's a crush or whether he just really enjoyed the magnetic relationship it is that they had. I'm not quite sure, but I don't think... Is it too far to speculate that he has a crush? I don't know.
Happened to me, and just seeing the spam of the name and all this stuff over and over, and then just like, and then just hearing it from him, I just like, you have to talk about this. And I was like, it's just too much. It's just too much.
Trisha acknowledged that she was wrong about Mr. R being arrested. She explained that she didn't knowingly and maliciously lie about it, but was repeating something that she had been told that she didn't do a good enough job fact-checking before repeating. The evidence points to that being the truth. It's hard to imagine that she would have sat there and given everyone the exact instructions on how to look up the specific article if she had actually known the article was about a different teacher than she had just given everyone the name of. So ultimately, someone else
Yeah, because in her original video where she was talking about Mr. R, where she got the information wrong, she goes, just search up Mr. Riney and, you know, Byron, Illinois. It's literally on Google. And that's when people did search that and ended up finding out that it was the wrong teacher. You know what I mean? I don't think that somebody who's literally trying to tell their own essay story would do something in a way intentionally that would make it so easy to debunk. Like, then what would be the motivation? What you think with your 1.2 million, you know, follower platform that people weren't going to do their own research? It doesn't make any sense.
Incorrectly thought Mr. R was arrested instead of fired, and that person told Trisha. Trisha Googled Mr. R's name to fact check it, and one of the very top results was a news article headline about a middle school teacher being arrested for CP, just like she had been told he was. So she took the headline as confirmation that what she had been told about him being arrested was the truth. So when talking about her CSA, she referred to the article as a point of reference that people could look up to see that he was a creep. As we know, Morgan and the other former students, plus the chief of police, clarified that he was fired, not arrested, after getting caught watching P on his computer at school while children were in the classroom. Which is still pretty creepy, if you ask me. Trisha stood firm that he had touched her inappropriately during Heads Up 7-Up. She expressed disgust that someone like Mysterious, who has zero first-hand knowledge of the situation, could sit there and Google some basic facts about him and felt that qualified her to make a determination on whether or not Mr. R had touched her inappropriately over 20 years prior when she was a child. Trisha spoke about the harassment she was receiving, as well as her mom, Morgan, and Morgan's family. She spoke about how nobody else is going to feel comfortable coming forward after seeing all the harassment she and Morgan were receiving. Trisha also said that she felt pressured by Ethan into speaking about the situation and that she really didn't want to, but that she hoped in doing so, Ethan would then leave her alone. Because that's something he told her twice when she was pleading with him.
Somebody said, this is Lynn Joy, they said, nah, nobody Googled it when Trisha said it on Frenemies. People Googled it after Mysterious put the clip in her hit piece on Trisha. No, that is incorrect, right? What actually happened was Trisha Paytas spoke about it a second time on TikTok. And in this TikTok video, she said, you can just search up this teacher, Mr. Riney, Byron, Illinois, and you will find the article. So people did that. And that's when they found out that it was actually a teacher from a completely different school in Illinois who wasn't Trisha Paytas' teacher. That's when everybody started calling out Trisha Paytas and saying, you're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar. And I think that that was the catalyst which ended up compelling somebody like Mysterious T to create their videos based on the knowledge that they believed that Trisha Paytas was lying about her CSA. So that's how it ended up happening. Trisha did a call to action with her audience and told them about her specific situation just in a random TikTok video and told them this teacher did this, but it was the wrong teacher.
To leave her alone, that she needed to make a statement about the Mr. R situation. Despite Ethan telling Trisha she needed to make a statement and Trisha doing what he pressured her to do, 2 days later, when YouTube took down Mysterious's video about the Mr. R situation, Ethan started publicly offering to help her get the video back up. At this point, if Ethan hadn't previously been aware of Morgan's allegations against Mr. R, or about all the other verifiable former students, plus the chief of police, confirming the creepy reason Mr. R was fired for, I'm assuming he was at least aware of it by this point, considering he told Trisha at least 3 times that she needs to respond to Mysterious's video. So one would assume he watched Trisha's response video, where she talked about Morgan. So even after seeing Trisha have an actual breakdown, and after Trisha submitted to his demands, and after learning there's a second victim, Ethan still chose to help Mysterious try to get the video back up about Mr. R. And of course, he couldn't just do it privately. He had to make a public spectacle out of it. So
okay, I don't necessarily see this as like malicious intent from Ethan at this point, because I also believe that he felt as if he was done wrong and hurt by somebody that he cared about, and was then at that point open to the idea that this person was, you know, less than what they seemed to him. That's what I'm thinking took place.
So that Trisha would know he was helping Mysterious. Mysterious said she wouldn't share anything Ethan had told her privately, but said he'd been a great help.
Ethan gave me really good advice as far as what to do with everything. I mean, I'm not going to say anything we said privately, but he's been a great help. I really, really appreciate Ethan. Like I said before, he did not have to help me, and I'm very, very thankful for his help.
Ethan went on to nominate Mysterious for a Steamy Award for Best Drama/News Coverage.
Let's go ahead and see the nominees, shall we?
And this do you remember Deaf Noodles, guys? Trip down memory lane.
This isn't biased. Nobody knew you were going to be here. So.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Mysterious.
Mysterious obviously had a huge year.
Yeah.
Her Trisha Paytas series was a big deal. It was a big deal.
Yeah, it was extremely in depth. I don't think I've seen something that in depth in like a while. Like,
and actually, it really brought to light, the Mr. thing I wasn't aware of, and really compelling case that on that one.
Yeah,
that it was a fabricated accusation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He praised her work on the Mr. R situation and said she made a very compelling case that Trisha fabricated her allegation. As if that wasn't disgusting enough, he actually used his platform to call for justice for Mr. R.
And by the way, justice for Mr.
What does that mean?
That's the teacher that she said essayed her in school.
Ethan called for justice for a man that not only one, but two different victims of Mr. R's had come forward, specifically to Ethan, about how they had been touched inappropriately by him as children. And of course, Mysterious was excited that Ethan used his platform to call for justice for Mr. R.
I was so excited. There's a clip of Ethan saying justice for Mr. R. And I was like, hell yes. Hell yes. He did say it. So that made me happy.
In one of Ryan Kavanaugh's lawsuits against Ethan, Kavanaugh's lawyer referenced Ethan's ongoing harassment of Trisha online. Trisha didn't have any personal involvement.
Girl, not Ryan. Listen, I may not like fucking Ethan Klein in any capacity, but Ryan is an absolute fucking lunatic. Let's just keep that all the way 100. I don't know if this is the best reference point.
In being mentioned in Kavanaugh's lawsuit. It wasn't something done with her permission or knowledge. It was just something Kavanaugh's lawyers included, on their own, to show a pattern of Ethan harassing and sending harassment toward other people. Here is a direct quote about Trisha that Ethan personally wrote and included in his lawsuit as a response to Kavanaugh's lawyers. I became critical of her and discussed her demonstrably false allegations of sexual assault against her now deceased teacher. Ethan doesn't get to decide if Trisha's teacher touched her inappropriately. He has weaponized Trisha's CSA against her, and he based it entirely off Mysterious's videos that are full of lies, misinformation, and manipulation. He has never once bothered to acknowledge Morgan, a victim of Mr. R's, who came forward to Ethan specifically with her allegations. To Ethan Klein,
I had no idea that Morgan had reached out to Ethan specifically. Oh yes, because her first response was in response to Ethan. When she came out and spoke about Mr. Riney and being a high school friend of Trisha, who she went to school with, it was underneath Ethan Klein's message about taking down the video. Fuck! So there's no way he wouldn't have been aware about Morgan. Oh, that's crazy.
All I have to say is the same thing he once told Trisha. Shame on you. The harm that has been caused by Mysterious's self-serving quest to discredit someone else's CSA should not be disregarded. Morgan became collateral damage in Mysterious's mission to take down Trisha. Mysterious vilified her for coming forward as a victim of Mr. R's. She treated Morgan like a threat to her narrative that needed to be extinguished. Rather than show Morgan compassion, she looked for ways to discredit her. When she came up empty-handed, she sunk as low as to just start creating ways to delegitimize her. She created conspiracies about her, fabricated contradictions, tampered with screenshots, created a fake timeline, twisted her words, told lies about her, urged people not to trust her, and used manipulative tactics to try to get people to disregard Morgan entirely. Morgan was chased off the internet. People were contacting her place of work, as well as where her dad works, and were harassing members of her family. Morgan was terrified. Mysterious's lack of compassion for Morgan trickled down to her fans, and even her moderators. As Mysterious sat there in videos and live streams, disparaging Morgan, her fans...
Yeah, she's dead. She died in 2020. Yes, Morgan's stories kept contradicting itself. I'm sorry, Morgan can't come to the phone right now. Why? Because she's dead. See, remember when I was saying that people were saying that she died? And I was like, no, she hasn't. Yeah, Morgan lies like Trisha. Morgan is Trisha. It's so obvious. Bet the IP addresses were the same as Trisha's too. Morgan is Trish.
Fans and moderators would do the same. Trisha ended up having an actual mental breakdown, resulting from the unprecedented levels of harassment she was receiving, stemming from the accusations made in Mysterious's videos. Trisha later revealed, months after Mysterious's videos had been released, that there had actually been a point, during the height of the harassment, that she didn't know if she even wanted to continue living anymore. That's absolutely heartbreaking. As a result of Mysterious creating a conspiracy that Trisha was blaming Mr. R for things her stepdad was doing to her, and that her mom didn't even care about what her stepdad was doing to Trisha, people began calling the police on Trisha's mom, and she ended up having to private her YouTube channel. Mysterious's videos manipulating people into believing that Trisha and Morgan were lying about being CSA by Mr. R has most likely caused irreparable damage to Trisha and Ethan's relationship. His willingness to believe Mysterious and advocate on behalf of Mr. R has probably completely obliterated any chance there ever would have been of them salvaging their relationship. There have been times since then that Ethan has said he misses Trisha.
I do miss her in the way that those conversations
Girl, they pulled the receipts. Okay.
were so freaking funny. Like, man, who else could you have like a conversation like that with? It's just truly unique and hilarious. Yeah, so back to Trisha, who I miss. If someone said, do you miss her? Yeah, I do. I miss her.
Trisha hasn't even spoken his name since 2021, and I can't blame her. He used his platform to call for justice for a man who essayed her when she was just a child. It wasn't just Ethan that Mysterious manipulated into advocating for Mr. R. There have been hundreds, if not thousands of people that have spammed Trisha's socials with calls for justice for Mr. R. Even to this very day, people still call for justice for him.
The whole internet basically called me a liar. People
For what?
saying that it didn't happen.
That you were never traumatized. Where'd your borderline disorder come from?
Still to this day, people are like, they'll say the hashtag, and like, I need to tell me if we should have that. The hashtag, all my videos, justice for, and like this teacher. To see that every day is like, it's like so traumatizing.
I can't even begin to imagine how Trisha, Morgan, and any other victims of Mr. R's must feel having to be subjected to that. What Mysterious did has inflicted pain onto so many people. It wasn't just harmful.
And here's the thing, even if people, say if there's like unknown potential victims of Mr. R, do you think you're going to come out and say shit after what's happened with Trisha Paytas, somebody with a prominent platform? You're not going to say anything. You're just not going to say anything. And here's the thing, like, whilst I understand that Ethan may have wanted to take down the episode due to not being able to fully corroborate the allegations that were leveraged against somebody, I understand that wholeheartedly, that, you know, there was a strong allegations leveraged against somebody, and who is he to be the judge, jury, and executioner of whether Trisha Paytas was telling the truth of that, right? I can understand him to that degree, but I just can't understand advocating on behalf of somebody you don't know nor have had any contact with to be able to even judge their character appropriately. It's just a very sad situation. I feel awful that this took place.
To victims of Mr. R's, it's harmful to victims as a whole. The kind of behavior Mysterious was not only engaging in, but was inciting so many others to engage in as well, is exactly the kind of behavior that silences victims. It was never her place to appoint herself as judge and jury when it comes to other people's CSAs.
Girl, it's like she's reading my mind.
Mysterious's defense of Mr. R was built on a foundation of false information. She told people Mr. R's teaching license showed that he had never been fired, never been reported for misconduct, and that he had a spotless teaching record. That was false. A teaching license in the state of Illinois doesn't even reflect any of that information. She also told people that he wouldn't have been able to continue teaching at other schools if he had been fired in the manner that was alleged. That was also false. Not only would it have been possible, but it wouldn't have even been out of the ordinary at that time in Illinois. Another thing she said is that he would have been stripped of his military titles. That's more false information that has zero truth to it whatsoever. As part of her defense for Mr. R, she misrepresented statistics that don't even have anything to do with Trisha and Morgan's allegations. It's the equivalent of saying someone couldn't have broken their nose 20 years ago by showing statistics of someone's likelihood of breaking their arm. Another part of her defense for Mr. R was to paint someone else out to be the culprit. She created a conspiracy that Trisha's stepdad was actually the person who essayed Trisha, even though nobody has ever even claimed to have been touched inappropriately by him. And where does Morgan factor into that conspiracy? Are we supposed to believe that Trisha's stepdad essayed Morgan too, and that Morgan was also just randomly blaming her teacher for it? It doesn't even make sense. Mysterious also falsely stated that there wouldn't have even been an opportunity for Mr. R to touch anyone inappropriately during Heads Up 7-Up because there would have always been 7 kids with their heads up that would have been able to see it. On the contrary, there are versions of the game where Mr. R would have had however much time as he chose to take, while all the students would have had their heads down and eyes closed. She falsely stated that being a war vet was a piece of the puzzle. We learned that at every level of correctional facility, at that time, whether it's a local, state, or federal correctional facility, that inmates who were military veterans were much more likely to be incarcerated for SA compared to non-veteran inmates. So I don't ever want to hear that Mysterious's videos on this topic were well researched, when pretty much her entire defense for Mr. R was nothing more than false information that she was providing to her viewers that had zero basis in reality. Even when it came to the timeline of events, Mysterious provided false information for that as well. If you strip away all of the false information that Mysterious shared and treat Morgan the way she should have always been treated, like a person with credible allegations, that should be taken seriously, and if you take into account that Trisha mixing up details from over 20 years ago doesn't automatically mean she wasn't essayed, then Mysterious is literally left with nothing. She did not prove and will never be able to prove that Trisha and Morgan were essayed by Mr. R over 20 years ago. She wasn't there, and no amount of manipulation will ever change that fact. But here is a fact that even Mysterious has admitted to. She is obsessed with Trisha Paytas.
People think I have an obsession with Trisha. I guess I kind of do have an obsession with Trisha.
In total, Mysterious has made over 40 videos about Trisha. Some of them
over 40 videos on Trisha Paytas. Oh my God, get a job. Indeed.com. Girl, it's never that deep. It's never that deep. Even so, for somebody who I legitimately have every reason to despise, like James Charles, I have never even come close to that amount of videos in my lifetime on YouTube. Are you okay? Are you okay? And that guy allegedly committed a real ass fucking crime against minors. Are you okay? Oh my God. Wow, that is way too many videos. Way too many videos.
Them have since been set to private or deleted. Those videos total to over 70 hours of content that Mysterious has made about Trisha. She has lined her pockets.
Fucking 70 hours of content on Trisha Paytas alone? Indeed.com, girl. LinkedIn.
With what she refers to as blood money. She has financially profited off trying to discredit other people's CSAs. People have donated nearly $7,000 in super chats to Mysterious. Most of those super chats came from her live streams that were fixating on Trisha. Half of those
How are they able to see that? How are they able to see that? That's got to be like a Chrome extension or something. I've never been able to see somebody else's super chats. That's crazy.
super chats came specifically from live streams where she was trying to discredit Trisha and Morgan. And over $1,200 of those super chats came directly from the very first live stream that she spent trying to discredit Morgan. And that's just the super chats that were donated to Mysterious. That's not including the ad revenue that she earned from those videos. Many of the live streams that involved Mysterious trying to discredit Trisha and Morgan have hundreds of thousands of views. Mysterious has literally made thousands of dollars from what she did to Trisha and Morgan. To put it into perspective, Mysterious estimated that she made $2,000 alone just off one of her videos pertaining to the situation. And that estimate was made before it had even accumulated all the views that it currently has. Mysterious is still making money to this very day from what she did to Trisha and Morgan. Considering the grotesque nature of what she did and the sheer amount of false information she provided while doing it, I firmly believe Mysterious needs to remove every video and live stream on her channel that involves trying to discredit Trisha and Morgan's CSAs. It wouldn't even begin to atone for what she's done and all the pain, suffering, and damage she's inflicted onto them, but at this point, it's the very least that she could do. I also think, given the circumstances and gravity of what she's done, that she has no business ever using her platform to speculate about other people's essays ever again. And she certainly should not be making videos about Trisha anymore, after the extraordinarily deceptive lengths she's gone to, and it's not only in relation to this situation either. I want to close out this video by thanking everyone who has taken the time to watch part 1 and part 2 of this series. These videos have not been easy to make. Like many of you watching, I too am a victim of SA. And I want you to know that you are not alone. I have put links to resources in the description box below, in case you ever feel like you need someone to talk to for advice or support. Lastly, there might be more videos in the future exposing other situations Mysterious has manipulated, as well as videos that have nothing at all to do with her. So if that interests you, and you don't want to miss out on what's coming next, then hit the subscribe button and strap yourself in, because I have a whole lot of things I want to share with you. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Well, God fucking damn. We're gonna give her a standing ovation, bitch. I want to see claps in chat right now. She fucking ended that shit. She ended that shit. She finished it. She annihilated it. She said no more and stopped the fuckery. What a great fucking series. It not only makes content creators like myself, who genuinely felt like I was going absolutely nuts and the world was bonkers, feel like at least a little bit validated, but like for victims of CSA who have watched something like this go down and feel as if their voice was empty, their voice was hollow, and that they did not deserve a fucking voice. The stuff it is that Dramatology has done for victims in general will be tenfold. Anything in terms of donation or otherwise that Mysterious has done for anybody. Mysterious, if you are watching this live stream, if you are watching this video after the fact, I want you to know that I think you're a deplorable, disgusting human being. I question how you are able to sleep at night knowing what it is that you have done, the lengths it is that you have gone to change the narrative in order to perpetuate somebody else as the villain in a story of their own sexual assault. And I truly hope that when you die, girl, that you will meet somebody just like Mr. R in hell. Because what you did was out of this world disgusting. Disgusting. I want to commend Dramatology for their immense amount of research and how far it was that they were willing to dive in order to make a situation that should never have been the way that it went down at least be seen by others. I also want to thank you guys, my fucking audience, every single last one of you in here, for taking the time to at least listen to what has been put before you. Dramatology is a very small channel. I believe they've just cracked over 1,000 subscribers. They don't have that many people who are aware of them, who are aware of their content. I will always go out of my way to amplify this kind of content. And if it is something that I stand beside and something that I believe in, then I will always make sure that I try and amplify it. What I will say is, whilst you have watched my commentary on this situation, or even if you're beginning, you've just joined the stream and you're thinking of watching my commentary and going back, please go out of your way to click the second link in the description bar down below and watch the full entire video on their channel. I don't want to siphon and steal views from somebody who definitely deserves the views, the comments, the likes, and the respect it is that they deserve. With that being said, thank you to everybody who's donated. Thank you to everybody who's subscribed, who's resubscribed, especially on Twitch. I really appreciate every single one of you. Make sure that you guys who are on YouTube, click the first link in the description box down below. That first link is a link to my live stream channel. I will be duo streaming on YouTube and on Twitch from this point forward. This will be the last stream that you guys will see on my main channel now that Twitch have changed their policy. I hope you guys have an amazing day or evening, whatever the hell it is that you are doing. And until next time, you beautiful, amazing, badass bitches. It's me, Paige. Bye. Go subscribe to Dramatology. Go subscribe to Dramatology. Go subscribe to Dramatology.
Just wanna be a mini me. All these just wanna be a mini me. All these just wanna be a mini me. Friend me, any me. All these just wanna be a mini me. All these just wanna be a mini me. All these just wanna be a mini me. Friend me, any me. All these just wanna be a mini me. All these just wanna be a mini me. All these just wanna be a mini me. Friend me, any me. All these just wanna be a mini me. All these just wanna be a mini me. All these just wanna be a mini me.
I'm about to go Goku. Leave on my head is red like old news. Yeah, trying to get the green like it's Whole Foods. Couldn't take my style and now you so blue. Yeah, now we don't need know you. Your hometown we don't need go to. Trying to get it worldwide global. Looking like I can show you. Be killing this is go-to. Skrilla, the whole man killer. Life so free, can't no man kill 'em. Came from the bottom, was a broke man. Get up, still move like 10 man with no found window. Boom, pardon me, I get hectic. Ooh, I survive through the wreckage. You should go look for the exit. New sheriff in town, I get a little reckless. Missed the memo, go check the message. I ate then came back for seconds. I hate seeing your fake little necklace. Lifestyle decrepit. I